All right, good morning. Good morning. We're going to get started here in a sec. Good morning, everyone. Welcome back. Today is Tuesday, January 27th. This is a regular meeting of the Board of Supervisors. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Joe Neves.
Here.
Richard Valley.
Here.
Doug Verboon.
Here.
Rusty Robinson.
Here.
Robert Thayer.
Here. All right, all members are present, so we can conduct business. We'll move on to invocation. I think Pastor Tyler Jones was going to be here today, but I don't see him. So we're going to ask Pastor Robert Thayer. My pleasure.
I'm here on Zoom.
Okay. All right, let's bow our heads. Heavenly Father, Lord, as we gather here this morning, I just thank you for those who are present here. I pray your hedge of protection around those who are traveling outside of this building in this fog, and just for safe travels. And Lord, as we get started on government work here, just ask that you open our hearts and our minds to what our constituents have to say and what they expect of us, and that we can do your will up here on this dais, and just bless those that are gathered here. And we just give this all up to you in your son's name. Amen.
Amen. All right, please follow me as we salute our nation's flag.
The United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Real good. So we're going to go on to unscheduled appearances. This is an opportunity for board members of the public to address the board on items of interest within the board's jurisdiction and which are not already on the agenda. The board will not answer questions, impromptu, and concerns or complaints will be referred to appropriate staff. For items which are on the agenda, members of the public will be provided with an opportunity to address the board as each item is brought up for discussion. Speakers should limit their comments to not more than 2 minutes. Madam Clerk, do we have any correspondence?
We have no written comments, and first speaker is Alex C. Walker.
Good morning, Alex C.
Morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. As if you don't get to hear me talk enough today, I just wanted to take an opportunity to speak as a private citizen on behalf of a couple different clubs. First and foremost, the Lemoore Chamber of Commerce is excited to have its installation dinner as well as its community awards program this Friday. Supervisor Neves will be leading us in invocation to Pledge of Allegiance, and Supervisor Doug Verboon will be installing the new chamber officer. So want to extend an appreciation to your board and support for that. Also wanted to provide a respectful reminder to the community, it's not too late to get those tickets. If you want some incredible food and an amazing opportunity to recognize our community's heroes and nominees, we have one in the audience today, I believe I saw. We just want to make sure that everyone is welcome and enjoying that community partnership. In addition to that, the Rotary Club of Lemoore is excited to be one of the sponsors for Youth and County Government Day. We also were preparing for our Guatemala trip this past weekend. We got ready for all the food and medicine that we're going to be bringing down to Guatemala in our partnership with other Rotary clubs, such as Hanford Rotary. In addition to that, we're getting ready to welcome some new members into our organization. If anyone's interested in learning more about the Rotary Club of Lemoore and the incredible people of action we are, you can follow us on our social media, website, and more. With that said, I just wanted to extend that appreciation. There's a lot of exciting things happening in Lemoore, both in and out of Rotary. We're also one of the sponsors for Flight Fest, which is coming up in March when the Blue Angels are visiting. It's going to be a really exciting time to really give back to your community, be involved in community service, and just really take an opportunity to celebrate. With that said, I respectfully yield the rest of my time back to your board. Thank you.
Thank you, Alex. Between you and my coffee, I'm getting there. Madam Clerk, anybody else online?
The next speaker is Anthony V. Lopez.
Oh. Good morning, Anthony.
Good morning. Thank you, Honorable Chairman Robinson and Supervisors. First off, I want to share some exciting news that through our Congressman David Valadeo, yesterday we learned that our request for $4 million to help build a new water storage tank is being funded. This was the largest earmark that the congressman had on the table, so we're very grateful. Once we get that project going, we hope you'll join us once we build a tank. Now to another matter at hand. As of today, I just want to make the board aware, the city has not received any formal response from Mr. Villa or from County Council to our letter sent January 14th, identifying the legal authority for which the County of Kings may unilaterally assume control of a municipal recall election. That question remains unanswered. So I want to state for the record and without ambiguity, the city has never consented and does not consent now to the county conducting a recall election on the city's behalf. Our municipal code is explicit. Authority over city elections rests with the city unless specific services are formally requested by the city council through the city clerk and our elections official. That has not happened. Now, speaking candidly, we understand what is happening here. There's a lot of posturings, a lot of narrative building, there's a lot of half-truths offered to help win public opinion one way or the other. If we are truly public servants, I'm asking that we all rise above that. I'm calling on the better angels of the board, of the county staff, of the city leadership to pause, to reset, and work collaboratively and lawfully to help bring clarity and not more confusion. Our communities deserve that we do our work for them and not for our petty squabbles. But let me be clear on this. If our concerns are dismissed, if lawful authority continues to be assumed rather than demonstrated, and this process moves forward despite the city's objection, know that the laws and the facts are on our side. The city will defend its authority, and we're going to win. Thank you.
Thank you, Anthony. Anyone else?
Mr. Chairman, I would just ask Mr. Lopez if he's going to remain for questions during the actual agenda item. Okay, well then I would just say that if I may, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
I would just say that the only confusion that's being added here seems to be by the city manager, who has the audacity to come to our podium today and make those kinds of comments. He's contradicting his own city clerk, who read for the record a statement that with some of the things that he just said that he's put in his public documents are absolutely not true. Their city clerk read a statement that said the proponents of the recall came to her at Avenel City Hall, and per her guidelines, she directed them here to the Kings County Department of Elections. It's absurd to come here and dishonor these chambers with untruths, unfacts, and the only posturing is that man right there standing against the wall, Anthony Lopez, the city manager. And so you could do that in your chambers, but here in this arena, you show some respect, you show some honor, and you start by telling the damn truth, or just don't say nothing at all. And I'm gonna leave it at that. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you. All right. Anyone else have any comments
The
today?
next speaker is Frank Lopez.
Good morning, Mr. Lopez. How are you today, sir?
Good morning, honorable board. I'm good. I have a few quick points. First point is I hope that we abolish ICE, and I hope the county does not assist in anything unlawful for the ICE department that we have in this country. Secondly, on better news, the Avenel Rotary has decided on who its Grand Marshal will be this year. It will be the Tuttle couple, JD Tuttle and Cheryl Tuttle, longtime residents of Avenel, great pillars of the community. May 2nd, we'll be having our Old Timers Day, and so they'll be leading the parade that day. And also, I just wanted to invite you guys all there. There will be a lucha libres, which is wrestling, Mexican-style wrestling. If you guys want, maybe we can set up a thing between the councils and the board. Maybe break some of the tension that we have in the county for sure. So next point I wanted to make would be just that I do believe that the elections official for the county should be an elected official and not an appointed one. So I would encourage the board to think about changing that. Fresno County has an elected clerk that does the elections stuff. And so I would just want to suggest that just that way that election position is answering to the voters and not to other elected officials. And lastly, just food for thought. As most real estate agents would know, If you do an addition to your house or your build or build an extra room or do something without the proper permits, it may be well done. It may be perfectly done the way it's supposed to be. But if the permits were not initially signed off, you're going to have to take it down. Thank you.
Thank you.
Last speaker card is for Alvaro Preciado.
Mayor Preciado, welcome.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, Supervisors. I'm here not as the mayor of the city of Avenal, but I also would like to comment. I believe we all residents in Kings County have the right to come and speak loudly, voice and concerns. Just like our residents in Avenal, every time they go, we just ask for respect. And I'm here respectfully, not to create a conflict, but also to voice my concerns. And as the mayor of the city, my leadership is confident. We will not stop the recall. That's the right that the community has. It happens every 2 years. Every 2 years, the community has the right to re-elect new council members or put new ones in there. So it happens every 2 years. Our community has the right to do so. On another hand, I don't feel that we're disrespectful when we come and voice our concerns. Everybody has their own opinion, and we're not going to agree 100%. That's why we're a democracy. Everybody has the right to voice their concerns and be respected. Unless you have proof, the facts prove it. And I think we're to that point where this process has been biased, has been so many miscommunication, so many leaking information, so many departments trying to dictate what cities can do, what departments can do, and it should be no overseen. Every department should have the sovereignty to act properly according to the law. I believe in the Constitution of California and also in the Constitution of the United States. I just wish that at the end, everything will be followed according to the law, not a verbal contract, but there's a contract for everything. We're in the United States with the one world country. So I also would like to ask the council, supervisors, to consider,
Okay, Mayor, we got to wrap it up.
yeah, to consider taking a stand on the race that ICE is doing. We may see them coming into our district soon. We have a lot of rural community that need protection. We need to stand strong to defend our community members. The same as I will be leading strong for my community.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else?
That is all the speaker cards online. We have Veronica Aguirre.
Okay. Veronica? Veronica, can you hear us?
Yes, can you hear me?
We can't hear you.
Okay, great. Good morning.
Try
My
again.
name is Veronica Aguirre. I am a resident from the community of Avenel.
All right.
And
While we get
I
that
think,
corrected, is there anybody else?
That's all that we have.
Veronica, can you hear me?
yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, evidently you need to unmute if you can.
I am unmuted.
Try it. Well, we might have you now. Oh, we saw you. We don't see you
I don't
now.
know. I don't know. I
Try one more time.
can you hear me?
Chairman, people online can hear her. We
Okay.
just can't. So, boy,
Yeah,
get
I have
something
people
figured
saying
out.
they can hear me.
All right.
No idea. Darn.
We're working on it.
Okay. That is
Yes,
so
sir.
weird. You can't-
Mr. Chairman, while we're waiting, Victor
Good
Charbonnet
morning.
Jr., I am the head coach at Sierra Pacific High
Hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you a little bit.
Oh, that is so strange. So, okay, well, anyways, thank you for the opportunity to get to speak this morning. I am a resident from the community of Avenel, and I just wanted to just come on really quick and mention that I think it is important, that we do have the opportunity as citizens to have the democratic process, and that is what the members of the community were trying to do when they first initiated this recall. And by not allowing it, they are actually infringing in that matter. I did hear, there's miscommunication. There is no miscommunication. We've been going back and forth at this for months. We have seen, as members of the community attended meetings, that our issues were not being addressed. And I do understand, the whole public comment process, you can't speak back and forth, but people were coming and asking questions, and they were never getting addressed as well. Here's the thing: we want the recall. Members of the community, over 500 people voted and signed that petition and said we would like for the county of Kings County to step in and do the recall. And that's what the members of the community have asked. And I believe that that's what we need. Going back and forth is a waste of the community's time and a waste of your time. And I find it very disrespectful to come and say we are going to win. If there's some taking legal process, that's not a way of working together. That's a way of stepping what we're supposed to be. So I apologize for that. My 2 minutes are probably up, but I do want to say that we want the recall. I think it's a fair process, and nobody needs to step in and say, no, it can't happen. So thank you.
Thank you for those comments. Seeing none, we'll move on to the approval of minutes. So we're going to go to
Chairman, we do
Yes.
have somebody else online. Stephanie Storm is online.
all right. Good morning, Stephanie.
Good morning. How are
Can
you
you
guys
hear
all
me?
doing? Yes, I can hear you fine. Can you guys hear
Okay,
me?
we can hear you now.
Perfect. Yes, my name is Stephanie Storm. I'm a former employee of the city of Avenel, but I'm a frequent visitor to the city. And I have had the opportunity and the displeasure of watching many of the city council meetings online up until obviously they were taken down due to the incident that occurred a couple months ago. But I think that when we talk about the facts and lawfulness, unfortunately for the city, those meetings are all recorded. We're able to see and hear everything that went on. There was no leaking of anything. If people are speaking and they hot mic, that isn't leaking. That is something that, that's a mistake that you made on your end. The miscommunications obviously are happening at the city level. We listened to Miss Angie Ortiz read into the record that when she was asked about the recall, she directed those people to the county. And I believe if Mr. Valley recalls, we talked about at one point, when I say we, I mean you, mentioned at one point Mr. Lopez going to the county to secure recall paperwork for the lone city council member that was not listed on the original, Mr. Verdugo. So clearly that was a process he also engaged in. So to turn around now and say, hey, this isn't correct, when your city clerk advised them to go there, when you were aware of this agreement that had supposedly occurred, and Tony, acknowledged that in the last meeting, you knew this was happening, and now it's an issue because you're not getting your way. So we're going to fight back and talk about the law. That should have been addressed a lot earlier when you knew this process was happening. And, for you to go and seek that paperwork in the same manner as the residents that wanted the recall initially for the other 4 members just shows that that was the process you were going to go through because you haven't got what you wanted. Now we're going to act like we didn't know this was happening. We talk about respect a lot. Again, I've had the opportunity and displeasure of watching many of the residents in the city be disrespected by the council members on their phones, laughing as they're making statements. Pastor Ted has made several statements at the beginning of this and was completely disrespected. And if anybody knows Pastor Ted, that's probably the nicest man on the face of the planet, and very calm and very respectful through all of it. At one point, the mayor, made a comment about somebody's car being
We're
parked
almost out of
in a
time.
way it shouldn't have been. Perfect. And the city manager is also going back and forth on social media, posting checks that have been voided, asking people about them. So let's be respectful and let's honor our community and the people we're supposed to be serving in those spaces. And that's all I have to say. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you. Thank you. See anybody else? No? Is there anybody here in the audience would like to speak? Okay, then we will move on to the approval of the minutes. We'll go on to item A, which is report out a closed session from the regular meeting for January 13th, 2026. Madam Council.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. There's nothing to report out of closed session.
Okay, then item B is approval of the minutes from the regular meeting for January 13th, 2026. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Supervisor Verboen, Supervisor Valley. Okay. Madam Clerk?
Joe Nevs,
Yes.
Richard Valley,
Aye.
Doug Verboen.
Yes.
Russ Robinson.
Yes.
Robert Thayer.
Yes.
Okay, so now we'll go on to the consent calendar. All items listed under the consent calendar are considered routine and will be enacted by one motion. If a board member has questions, requests additional information, or wishes to comment on an item, the vote should not to be taken until after questions have been addressed or comments made and the public has an opportunity to comment on the consent calendar items. Does anybody have any comments on the consent calendar? Any in the public? No? All right, I'll entertain a motion.
If there's no question, I move for approval.
Supervisor Verboen? Second. Supervisor Thayer? All right, Madam Clerk?
Joe Nevs.
Yes.
Richard Valley, Doug Verboen.
Yes.
Russ Robinson.
Yes.
Robert Thayer.
Yes.
We're good. Moving right along to the regular calendar. So we'll go on to administration, Curia and, or Alex. Who's going to do it? Well, it looks like
Mr. Chairman, I have it.
you're going to do it. All right.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So good morning, members of the board. Carrie Martinez, County Executive Officer. Before you this morning is the quarterly report of facility activities at Kettleman Hazardous Waste Facility in December of 2009. The board adopted a resolution which authorized issuing a conditional use permit for Chem Waste Management to operate in Kettleman Hills. As part of the conditions of the approval and the permit, the general manager of Kettleman Hills facility shall give quarterly reports to the board of supervisors in person concerning the monitoring program and any or all work and activity at the site. At this time, Mr. Bob Henry, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Welcome, Bob.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the Kings County Board of Supervisors. Report period covers from October 7th through January 26th. I do have a few activities that I would like to go over. Back on October 16th, KHF was at the State of the County event at the Tachi Palace. KHF was a silver sponsor of the event. October 22nd, Cal Recycle and Kings County Environmental Health Services was at the Kettleman Hills facility. This was for the 18-month unannounced facility inspection. The inspection included landfill B17, our MSW landfill, B18, our HAZ landfill. They do that because we have a non-hazard, non-putrescible industrial solid waste permit for that one as well. And then B19, which was going through closure at the time. They also did records review. During their inspection, no violations, no area of concern were identified. So Cal Recycle every 18 months will come out in conjunction with Kings County, do an inspection of any municipal solid waste operations. During that time, no issues. October 23rd, KHF at the Kings County Public Safety event in Kettleman City. KHF was a sponsor of the event, providing food and raffle prizes. KHF also had an information booth at the event. Linguiça was good. Okay. It was good. October 24th, a lot going on that month. KHF at the Kettleman City Elementary School Carnival. KHF provided 4 light plans for the event. Also, funds from the carnival are used for the 8th grade graduation trip. October 30th, Central Valley Regional Water Quality Control Board at KHF. Semi-annual facility inspection. No violations, no area of concern were identified during the inspection. So you had Cal Recycle, the county, now you had the water board. November 13, DTSC at KHF. DTSC unannounced focused compliance inspection of the final stabilization unit. So no violations, no area of concern. So what they'll do is they'll come out at the beginning of the year for one inspection, DTSC will, and then typically they'll have 2 to 3 more, but they'll be focused on certain areas, either container storage, treatment, something like that. This was the last one of the year, and this was for our treatment unit. November 21st, KHF at the Kettleman City Community Center. KHF provided the seniors in towns with a Thanksgiving luncheon. November 25th, KHF at the Kettleman City Community Service District. KHF distributed turkeys for Supervisor Valley's Thanksgiving turkey giveaway for needy families. November 26th, Kings County Environmental Health Services at KHF monthly unannounced facility inspection. No violations, no area of concerns were identified during the inspection. December 19th, KHF at the Kettleman City Community Center. KHF provided the seniors in towns with a Christmas luncheon. December 22nd, Kings County Environmental Health Services back out at KHF monthly unannounced facility inspection. No violation, no area of concern. January 13th through 14th. DTSC at KHF. And this was the monthly, DTSC unannounced compliance evaluation inspection of the facility. So this is where DTSC comes out at the beginning of the year, goes through everything at the site. Usually it's several, I think we had 3 this time, and they're there usually for a day or 2 or longer. No violations, and there was one area of concern identified during the inspection. The area of concern, we have tanks that are on site that we mix in at the treatment unit. So we have the original tank, and then we put inserts in those. To give you an idea, they're about 1-inch thick steel. So you have a pit and backhoe setup or hydraulic excavator. You'll put the waste into the tank. The delivery trucks will put it in the mixing tank. We'll add reagents, cement, sodium hypochlorite, ferrous sulfate, whatever it might be to chemically fixate the material. We'll mix all it together with a hydraulic excavator, and we'll put it in containers, roll-off containers, and we'll test it. Concern was that the engineer's report wasn't readily available or wasn't available for the tank thickness evaluation. What we had done in 2025, we had done the tank thickness testing. We'd provided all the information to the engineer. We're just waiting on his report. So it's an area of concern. Had we not been where we were at, we would have got a violation. We should be able to take care of that area of concern as soon as we get the engineer's report on, and he is working on it. So he has all the data he needs to do the report. Future activities. February 13th, Valentine's Day Senior Luncheon at the Kettleman City Community Center. There was a transition of the community center from the Kettleman City Foundation over to the Reef Sunset Unified School District, and we're working with the superintendent of the school district to make arrangements to continue to have senior luncheons at that location. Permitting. I've talked about it and been talking about it for a long time. Our DTSC permit expired back in 2013. We've been timely on a renewal submittal. DTSC was working on our landfill expansion, B18 Phase 3, and in that time period up until about 2015. After that, they picked up the permit again to do the renewal. It's gone through some iterations, several iterations. DTSC was to respond to public comment and make a final permit decision, and it was scheduled for February 5th and 6th. It looks like that's going to be delayed. From what we understand, it'll be delayed at least till midsummer, if not possibly even a little bit longer. We're working diligently with DTSC on permit conditions and things like that this time. So I don't look at that as bad news. I look at that as good news in trying to get some things resolved. Okay. Once a permit decision is reached, there'll be 30 days to do before it becomes final. And during that 30-day period, it can be appealed to the Board of Environmental Safety. So it wouldn't appeal back to DTSC, but to the board. Okay. Any questions?
Any questions for Bob? Any questions from the audience? All right. Well, it sounds like you almost got a clean bill of health. You're at one area of concern, little one, but you're addressing.
I am. We are.
Okay.
All right. Thank you. Thank you.
All right. So I think we need to accept Bob's report. So I'll entertain a motion. Supervisor Neves?
There's no point comment. I move approve or second.
Supervisor Verboen? Madam Clerk?
Joe Nevs.
Yes.
Richard Valley.
Yeah.
Doug Verboen.
Yes.
Rusty Robinson.
Yes.
Robert Thayer.
Yes.
Did I ask the audience if they had any questions? I think I did, right? Okay, good. We're good. All right. So now we'll move on to elections. Mr. Villa.
Thank you. Morning.
Good
Chairman.
morning, sir.
Morning, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. Lupe Villa with the Elections Department. Hope you guys are having a great morning. I come before you to respectfully ask that you adopt a resolution calling for the City of Avenel recall election that has been set for Tuesday, April 28th, 2026. I would also like to share some background on the development of the recall efforts and its process. On June 30th, 2025, the City of Avenel recall proponents were given direction on the recall process and were provided with the recall guide to assist with the process. The recall guide is available to any member of the public and is available at our website. On July 11th, 2025, the proponents of the Avenel recall efforts filed with the Kings County Elections Department notice of intent to recall against the City of Avenel council members Álvaro Preciado, Leticia Gomez, Pablo Hernandez, and David Reynosa. After the filing of the notice of intent to recall, the proponents were given direction on how to create the required recall petitions for each of the recall council members and were directed to the recall guide for further assistance and guidance. I ask you please keep in mind that each recall effort is independent of each other, meaning they would have to do one for each council member being recalled. The 4 separate filed recall petitions by the proponents were reviewed by the Elections Department to ensure compliance with California Elections Code. The review period involved working closely with the recall proponents to address deficiencies found within the recall petition, such as formatting, font, content, and such. One of the requirements that we have is that the petitions must include the intent to recall as to the reason why and the response from the officer being recalled if they choose to submit one. After 5 reviews on September 12th, 2025, the 4 filed petitions were approved for 60-day circulation, meaning they had 60 days to gather signatures to see if they could meet the thresholds. The recall proponents were tasked with collecting 526 valid signatures by November 12, 2025, which is 25% of the number of the registered voters within the City of Avenel, taken from the February 10th, 2025 report of registration. The reported registration is the registration of our voters within Kings County, not just Avenel, within Kings County that is reported to the Secretary of State's office 6 times during an even year and once during an odd year. And that's the report we use to calculate the number of valid signatures they would need to qualify for a ballot. On November 12, 2025, the proponents filed the 4 circulated recall petitions with sufficient raw signatures for each of the council members. This action initiated the 30-day review period for the Elections Department to validate the raw signatures. By raw, meaning they're just signatures that we just see them and we take it. And then we start doing the verification of each one of those signatures. On November 25, 2025, the Elections Department found that each of the filed recall petitions met the required threshold of 526 valid signatures. On January 8, 2026, I presented the City of Avenel governing body the certificates of sufficiency for each of the recall petitions filed against council members Álvaro Preciado, Leticia Gomez, Pablo Hernandez, and David Reynosa. In accordance with California Elections Code 11240, the governing body, in this case, the City of Avenel City Council, shall issue the recall order within 14 days from the date the governing body receives the certificates of sufficiency, that is January 8th. The City of Avenel Council failed to call the election by their established 14-day deadline, which was January 22nd, 2026, last Thursday. Elections Code 11241 requires the county elections official, myself, to set the date of the election within 5 days, after the deadline for Avenel, which is today. The City of Avenel City Council's failure to act forced the Kings County Elections Office to set the election date, which is April 28th, 2026. The election date for the City of Avenel recall election against Councilmember Álvaro Preciado, Leticia Gomez, Pablo Hernandez, and David Reynosa is hereby set as Tuesday, April 28, 2026. The City of Avenel recall election will be conducted, canvassed, and the results will be declared in the same manner as any other election held for the City of Avenel. The resolution has been reviewed and approved by County Council as to form. I respectfully ask your board to adopt the resolution calling for the City of Avenel recall election set for Tuesday, April 28, 2026. And I'm available for any questions.
Any questions for Lupe? Any comments?
I'll make a motion.
Thank you. The comment, Supervisor Bell?
Yes.
Yep.
Morning, sir.
Morning.
Thank you for the presentation, for the transparency and some of this matter here. Just long story short, as if the county and the board of supervisors is not the ones who are imposing the recall election on the council members in the city of Ireland, right?
That's correct. Yeah.
We have nothing to do.
It is the proponents, it is the voice of the voters within that community that was initiated the process of this recall, not any other governing body or elected official.
So when the city manager and the mayor have now come here this morning and asked the board to hit the pause button for whatever reasons, that's not possible to get around. Your department is the one that's calling and setting the state.
That is absolutely correct. That is according to California Elections Code, and that responsibility lies on my shoulders to call the election since they failed to do their ministerial duty of calling within 14 days of January 8th.
Thanks for clarifying that. So I didn't want confusion coming. This agenda. Okay, that's would fit the pattern of what's happening. My comments would be, Mr. Chair, that added more confusion here this morning for City Manager Anthony Lopez to come to this podium. Yeah, he can say whatever he wants to say, but what he's saying contradicts what he just put out in his own public statement in a press release on City of Avenal's letterhead and on the City of Avenal's Facebook page last week, where after their city clerk, Angie Martinez, alerted the city council that what they're saying in regards to this recall is simply not true. And when the city is putting in print and out to the public that the recall proponents did not follow correct procedures and the county has no jurisdiction in this matter, she said publicly for the record that the proponents of the recall came to her and that her past practices in agreement with all the city clerks of every city in the county of Kings that cities put their elections and recalls to the Kings County Department of Elections. So she corrected that. So the next day, the city manager, I'm just going to read his first paragraph from his statement, is that from City Manager Anthony Lopez, it has come to my attention through recent events that guidance regarding the local recall process was not clearly understood or consistently communicated by city staff. This lack of clarity, combined with miscommunication between the city and the county, results in confusion about proper procedures. Then he goes on apologizing on behalf of the city to the community for the confusion this has caused. And then he vows that moving forward, we'll work together and this won't happen again. But yet he comes here this morning and says opposite here in our change, and it's there to add more. It's there to add more confusion. Part of the confusion that they put out is insulting the Honorable Sarah Hacker, our Kings County District Attorney, in their paperwork. Other insults is allegations of leaking closed session information between Councilmember Ricardo Verdugo and myself, which is clearly a lie. And when the mayor comes here and says he has proof, then I personally look forward to that. But those kinds of allegations and stating things like that publicly, and then to come here today and ask for respect and ask for us to hit the pause button, it just shows that, in my opinion, Mr. Chairman, that the leadership there is once again not taking responsibility for their own actions. This recall is not a result of what you're doing this morning. It's not a result of the Kings County Board of Supervisors. It's a result of their actions all last year, not listening to the community. I've had personal conversations with them where we talked about hitting the pause button last year and how we go about it. And they continue to move forward and to insult members of our county staff when we go to their meetings. They're disrespectful to you, Mr. Villa, when you went to do your job to serve the certificates of validity. And we're not going to do that here. We're not going to go to that level, but we will clear the record. And so I'm going to close with this to clear the record. One of the things that City Manager Anthony Lopez put in public document and for the record, and I quote, he said, Lupe Villa, Departments of Elections spearheaded this recall election here in the city of Avenel. Mr. Villa, did you spearhead this recall election?
So let me just bring some clarity to the unfortunate chain of events that have happened since the proponents approached my office to initiate the recall against council members. I find it to be challenging to speak about it in open because of the amount of disrespect that it is to the process, the democratic process that we have in place, right? That we all are afforded as citizens. The people in Avenel are also afforded the same process, regardless of where you're at. When they came to my office and there's electronic communication between myself and city staff, including the manager, as to the proponents inquiring about this recall effort. And they wanted direction from me and my office as to what to do with these proponents. They did the right thing. They sent them to my office. And as I read in my report, that's what started rolling the ball. So for any type of perception as to me starting or spearheading any type of recall, first of all, why would I want to bring work upon myself or my staff, right? I'm here to do a job that this board hired me to do. That is to enforce the elections code according to how it's written, regardless of who it is. So I found that to be very disrespectful. There's no truth to that. My job is to ensure that we follow the code, that we enforce the code, and then we continue with this process. It's going to be unpopular for some community members, maybe for some political groups. But it's not for me to say. My job is to continue to do what I'm doing, and that's what we're going to be doing. So to answer your question in short, no, I did not spearhead any type of recall effort against any member of the city of Avenel.
Did you ever pull out paperwork for petitions to recall any members of the Avenel City Council?
If I did?
Yeah.
No.
Did you ever go to City of Avenel to organize and motivate and entice the voters of Avenel to launch a recall election against the city council members of Avenel?
No.
Did you ever go door to door to gather signatures from voters in the city of Avenel to recall these council members?
No, I have not.
Mr. Villa, do you have any dog in this fight?
There's not a horse in the race for me. Again, I can't stress enough to the board and to the community and the public. I'm just doing my job. This is what I was hired to do, and I'm going to continue to do it. I'm not here to make friends, and I'm not running for office. This is what I was hired to do, and I'm going to continue to do it with the high degree of integrity. Myself and my staff are going to be allowing that to happen, and we're going to continue to do so.
Appreciate that. One last question, if you
Sure.
if you can answer. As the Kings County Department of Elections registered voters, can you say if the city manager, Mr. Anthony Lopez, ever came to your office to inquire about recall paperwork on one of his fellow council members, Ricardo Verdugo?
There was a second attempt. There's, as mentioned in my report, there's 4 council members being recalled with this effort. The 5th and sole council member that was left behind, there was an inquiry. They were inquiring as to how to initiate that recall efforts for that 5th sole council member. So, and that was done so during a visit in which one of the council members was being recalled now was turning in their response to the intent to recall. So Leticia Gomez came into the office to file the response to the intent along with the city manager, and they inquired as to what is the process to start a recall. So as you can see, it's kind of.
Yeah, it's confusing. It's confusing. I appreciate you clearing the record because, as been stated many times, the city manager is coming to your office and another Avenel City Council member is coming to your office to get information, get a recall started on against a member of the Avenel City Council, but then come here today and say, wait, what? This was not done right. So I appreciate that. And I just want to close, Mr. Chair, by saying I also have no doubt in this fight. My commitment to my constituents of Avenel is the fact that once this recall happens, let's say all 4 members of the council beat the recall and they stay in office. Well, that tells me as a representative that the actions they're taking, that my constituents, the majority of them agree with that. And keeping professional, my commitment publicly is in, then I would work with that council. And if those voters are saying they want and they feel safe with their own city municipal fire station, then my job is to help the Avenel Council be the best municipal fire station in the state of California, as per my record of fighting and going after resources to help strengthen the communities in my district. As of right now, our jobs are about protecting health, safety, lives, and property in the county of Kings. And the actions that have been taken by Avenel City Council, in my opinion, clearly don't side with that. And so as I step aside on the business, we successfully had a contract to keep our county firefighters there in the city of Avenel, which the community feels by far that's the best step right now. But after that, this recall election, I'm staying professional. There's no endorsing of it either way. There's no me going door to door over there. They don't want that. I don't have to do that. But if it's the disrespect needs to stop. And I'm going to leave it at that. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any other questions for Lupe? Are there any questions from the audience? Yes, ma'am.
I actually have a comment. I could go up now.
Yeah. Come on up.
Okay. Yeah, this is fine. I'm kind of.
Want to state your name for the record?
My name is Dalila Barajas. I'm actually the person who started this recall. Good morning, supervisors. We are grateful to Kings County through the Elections Department for moving forward with the resolution to hold the special recall election on April 28, 2026. Thank you. If we move forward with that, please. I am here today not only as a resident of Avenel, but also as a voter, deeply concerned about the integrity of the recall process. The recall process exists to give voters a lawful, neutral path to hold elected officials accountable. The neutrality is lost when Am I okay? Yeah. It's allowed to control or alter a voter-initiated recall after it has already begun. And when City Hall attempts to reroute recalls and elections through itself, the message to voters is very clear. We'll decide when you get to hold us accountable. And that is dangerous. It is an abuse of power. And it is exactly why recalls must be handled by a neutral authority, not by the very officials who are being challenged. Today, I respectfully ask the board to step up and do what counties are meant to do, and that is provide checks and balances when local governments fails us. Given the level of dispute and controversy surrounding this recall, allowing the city to assert control over the process creates a perception problem and raises legitimate concerns about neutrality and public trust. A county-wide resolution will help memorialize existing practices, reduce jurisdictional disputes, and provide clarity for cities, clerks, and voters going forward.
We're going to have to wrap.
Okay, today I urge you to adopt a county-wide resolution that safeguards recall elections and the process for Kings County by affirming that Kings County Elections Office is the neutral authority for voter-initiated recalls in elections and by preventing mid-process procedural changes that affect active recalls for the election. So thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you. Thank you. Anybody else? Yes, sir.
So I would be against it, but I do have a question. If that was the first recall that was initiated, you did mention it started in July, the one that had enough signatures, which I did see them actively out in the community getting signatures, going door to door, speaking to people, being on county property. They were at the fire department's parking lot. But regardless of that, it was the second or fourth, fifth recall effort. The initial statement, because the council members were served twice. The first one did not pass muster because the rule, they didn't get enough signatures for the intent to petition for a recall. So that was one first attempt by the recall effort, which is when I think the clerk had mentioned for them to go to the county. From my understanding, because yes, I did try and did get a petition going as well for the one council member that I also voted for when in 2024. But I held off and I had a lot of questions. Mr. Villa can attest that I asked a lot of questions about what was going on with the process because it is unclear. And he told me if you fail, if the first time you fail, you have to start all over again. And if you look at the rules, it says go see the city clerk. So if they went another 4 times for each individual, right? Each recall is an individual, then I would see that being a fair process. Since it seems they only went once, that's where I find the fault in that logic. So that'd be my comment.
Okay, and just to reiterate, we are in public comments right now. So it looks like Lupe, you have another comment or no? Did you have, Anthony, I saw you walking up? No. All right. Okay. And we'll try and stick to 2 minutes. If there's any other comment.
We do have Sheila Verdugo.
Good morning, Ms. Verdugo.
Good morning, supervisors. My name is Sheila Verdugo, and I'm here as a community member. I'm not here as a council member's wife. I am just here as a member of my community. I want to sincerely thank Supervisor Valley and the Kings County Elections Office for continuing to carry out their duties in a professional, neutral, and steady manner during what has been a long and difficult process for our community. I also want to acknowledge the recall team and the many residents who have been involved. This effort has taken months of tireless work, walking neighborhoods, gathering signatures, asking questions, following procedures, and doing their best to comply with every instruction they were given. These are everyday residents who stepped forward because they care about transparency, accountability, and being heard. Regardless of where anyone stands in this recall itself, that level of civic engagement deserves respect. This has been a long road and at times a confusing one for the community, which is why clarity and consistency from elections officials is so important. The recall petition was processed, certified, and certified by the Kings County Election Office. And at this time, there's no court order halting this election. As we understand it, the county's role remains unless directed otherwise by a court. With that in mind, I respectfully ask that if the city files anything with the courts that could impact the attempt to halt this recall election, the county please keep the community informed in a clear and timely manner. Transparency helps reduce confusion and protects public trust in this process. We have not gotten that from our own officials, so we would appreciate your help. At the end of the day, this is about voters and their right to participate in the local democracy. It is our right, and we're not getting that right with what's happening.
Thank you for those comments. Other comments? Mayor Preciado.
So I respect everybody' comments, concern, and rights. And I feel that we also have concerns regarding the whole process. And when we're talking about transparency, there has to be somebody overseeing the election departments. Who supervises work? I was there 2 times just to observe in the lobby. I was not allowed to go inside. And it was on a Tuesday, and I was told, and I asked a lot of questions. There's 1,000 of questions that have not been answered. In 2 minutes, and the time we come is not enough. And the truth will come out. Believe me, trust me, everything will come out. And it goes to, because each one of us are public elected officials. We made an oath to serve our communities, to do what is best for our communities, not just for our district or your district, but the whole county. So when I was there with Mr. Villa, and with all respect, I asked him how long is it we're gonna take. He said it's gonna take a while. We're still counting, measure 50 signatures validation. It's gonna take a while. Well, they turn around in 2 days, and they verified the over 2,650 for each one. So that's almost 3,000 signatures in 2 days, or maybe 2.5 days. So to me, there's concerns, there are questions, and a lot of questions that will come out. This is the legal process. Transparency will follow. Nobody's guilty until proven guilty in a court of law. And it may go to that because we want transparency. We want the legal process to oversee each one of us. My integrity is not on the line, and I don't take it personal. Like I mentioned before, our community has every 2 years the right to elect new council members or reject the ones that are not doing their job. And that goes to each one of us elected officials. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Other comments? Lupe, anything else?
Yeah, I just want to maybe add to the comment of the Mayor Preciado, what he mentioned about him visiting our office, himself and two other gentlemen with him. They were at the office. They were allowed to stay within the lobby area of the department. They were there to wanting to observe the process of validating the signatures that were attached to each one of those petitions. During a recall, the only people that are allowed to view the signatures are the proponents. And the proponents are only allowed to view the signatures that were disqualified or not counted. Elections code and government code, I don't have them on top of my head, but elections code and government code does not allow anyone to view the signatures on the petitions for obvious reasons. So they were not allowed to see it. And they asked, and I said, you can't. I mean, you can come into the lobby and watch us do it, but you're not going to get behind a screen or behind a staff member and view the petition and be able to take a picture or a visual of the petition itself. So that is when they visited my office, and that's when I told them they could stay in the lobby, but they can't view. That's not just in Kings County, that's throughout the state of California. Research election code and government code is clear as day. So no one can do it, including you guys. You cannot view those petitions, only the proponents, and only if the signatures were disqualified. That gives them an opportunity to challenge disqualification. So based on the number of signatures submitted for each of the council members, we stopped at 526, which was the threshold. We're not going to spend half a day counting signatures. That ain't going to matter. We already met. They met the threshold of 526. So that's what we do.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir. Supervisor Valley.
Mr. Villa's comments sparked just one more question. Obviously, anyone who's being recalled or put in the position, and then to come to your office and ask to view signatures, I would think that an elections law probably protects the people that sign those petitions against retaliation. Therefore, anyone who's put in that position, why would they, be allowed to see those signatures? Why would you want to see those signatures? So am I right that it's about is the state law protects from retaliation for signing a petition to recall an elected official? Is that part of the reason why they wouldn't be allowed to come see those signatures?
It's pretty obvious as to why the law was written, right? I can probably put money on the fact that something happened before as to why this law had to come about. It is to protect the integrity of the process. It's to protect the voters who willingly signed the petition and affix their name to this petition, willing to recall a specific council member. So that is my assumption, is that is to protect the identity of the folks who signed the petition.
If they came, they asked you to see those signatures.
And it's not unusual for outside of recall and regular elections, not unusual to request or to have requests from what we call observers who come in and observe the process as to how we verify signatures on the ballot. It's a whole different animal. You're comparing apples to oranges. When you have a ballot, people who submitted their vote for whatever contest or race maybe, When you have a recall, is when you're trying to remove someone from office. That is, you have to protect the identity of that person, and that is one of the processes. You're not allowed to view the petitions. I mean, today, the only ones that get to see it is myself and my staff.
Any other questions? Any other comments?
I do have one person online,
Okay,
Veronica Aguirre. Go ahead.
Veronica, floor is yours.
Hi, can you guys hear me okay? I
Yes.
know we had trouble. Okay, good. I just wanted to come on again and, I just have there's so many different questions, question marks everywhere. And one is that our community experienced a recall for school board members. That was like 4 school board members. I believe it was in the last election, and none of this ever came about. So I'm just wondering why was the process not questioned when we had had all these school board members being recalled, and it wasn't questioned until city council. So I'm just wondering if it's the same thing, if you have to use the same process. And another thing too is just being an observer, not just a member of the community, but I was also told by people that were going up and signing that there was a guy that was just kind of standing next to the table telling people, hey, don't sign this, don't sign the recall. It's all lies. And then we find out later that it was the son of an elected official from a neighboring community. So then we're wondering what is the skin in the game of somebody coming from outside of the community to come and tell people don't sign this? And then we find out later that he actually is also related to the person that they hired to do the fire the consultant. So we're like, and then people are coming to our doors with these flyers and telling our children, because some of us are at work, hey, here, give this to your mom, tell them not to believe the recall because it's a lie, and then leaving flyers at our door. And we're finding out these people are also not from the community of Avenel, because there was photos being shared throughout the community, like, hey, this guy was coming to our door on a Ring camera, and nobody recognized these people. So we had people from outside the community coming and trying to intimidate and pretty much misinform. We're talking about all this misinformation, but misinformation was coming from people that really don't even have an address in our community.
Almost out of time.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for speaking clearly.
Thank you.
Madam Clerk, anybody else?
Also online is Kelly Guzman.
Welcome, Kelly. The floor is yours. I think you might be muted, Kelly. You want to take off the mute button? Still can't hear you. Try again.
Thank you. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Thank you so much. I want to thank you, supervisors and public, for letting me speak for just a couple of minutes here. Of course, like the rest of my community, I'm really confused and saddened about this recall. I did work very hard with the proponents of this recall to get those signatures, questioning the validity of the recall and the signatures. It's saddening. We did everything we could to try to follow all the guidelines that were, well, we did follow the guidelines, and they weren't even that difficult. It was pretty simple. We were sort of harassed and mistreated throughout the entire collection of the recall things. I want to say that once this hit all public media and the agendas that the city was going to sue the county, I got very concerned, and I said, well, we worked really hard on that, but that means we're not going to quit. If the city of Avenel wants us to follow their guidelines, then I will start a new one. I'll be the proponent and start a new one against the same 4 people. Did that, and they sent me to the Secretary of State. So if I just don't understand how our recall could be not correct. And when we try to correct it, there's not even a way to correct it within the city of Avenel. I would ask that the recall be validated. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Carlos Saldana also had his hand raised. It's not raised anymore. Carlos, did you want to speak?
Carlos? Might need to take off the mute button.
Hello, can you hear me?
Now we can, yes. Go
Oh,
ahead.
perfect. Hello. Hello, good morning. Well, my name is Carlos Saldana. I'm a resident here in Avenel, and I just wanted to be very firm and clear. I was one of the volunteers who helped from the beginning collect signatures at booths. I kind of wanted to piggyback off of, what Veronica Gary mentioned. Basically, there was people showing up, harassing us, basically showing up with signs telling people not to sign. And from the very beginning, this was all about transparency. No one was misled, nothing was inflated. I would just say nobody was pressured to sign. I would just want to say, every statement that was made throughout this process, everything was rooted in facts. It was for me, it was for everyone, transparency. When I volunteered collecting the signatures, speaking to residents, everything matched exactly what we were our handouts. So there's no script, there was nothing else, exaggerated. And just to hear the mayor and Anthony come here today and accuse the county and just, disrespect everyone again, it's just very, just very appalling. I don't know how to describe it. I've been quiet for a couple months now. I haven't attended city meetings for a while just because I didn't want to react out of emotion. So I kind of just sat back watching what I needed to see and hear. So I stand on truth. I stand on facts. I just want to thank you guys for giving us this, and I hope we could get this recall done. And I just want to thank you guys.
Carlos, thank you.
Do not have any more online with their hands raised.
Okay, anybody in the audience? Anthony?
All right, first off, I'll apologize that this has now become kind of a courtroom, but I just have two quick points I just wanted to point out. So one, to answer Veronica's question of why this didn't come up with the school district's recall. My understanding of the law, I'm not a lawyer, but that counties and school districts are extensions of the state. That's why they have different vested authority and powers. Cities, as incorporated, are municipal corporations, and we have our own autonomy and ability to do and have our own set of laws, hence our municipal code. On the second point, I did find it a little eerie and honestly disgusting to talk about retaliation or intimidation, given the fact that when the proponents have to start their petition to even have a recall, to initiate it, they do have to get all those signatures. They have to be posted in 3 or 5 spots. And it's pretty well known in the community that I walk around town. I walk to and from work and I walk around everywhere. I only ever saw those lists of signatures and all those names in one spot ever. So that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else? All right, so the recommendation before us is adopt the resolution calling for the recall election to be held on Tuesday, April 28, 2026 for council members Alvaro Preciado, Leticia Gomez, Pablo Hernandez, and David Reynosa from the city council or from the city of Avenel City Council. I'll entertain a motion at this time. Supervisor Verboen made a motion. Do I have a second? Supervisor Neves, second. Madam Clerk?
Joe Nevs.
Yes.
Richard Valley.
Yes.
Doug Verboen.
Yes.
Rusty Robinson.
Yes.
Robert Thayer.
Yes.
All right, motion passes.
Thank you so much. Hope you guys have a good day. Thanks.
All right. So now we'll go on to Department of Public Health. Rosemary? Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, Chairman, Supervisors. It's my pleasure to introduce our Community Wellness Program Specialist, Leslie Corchado, who's going to introduce this item. Good morning.
Hi, Leslie.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak today. We are bringing forward this proclamation because heart disease remains a serious and ongoing issue in Kings County. It is the #1 cause of death in our county. Nearly 1 in 10 adults have been diagnosed with heart disease, and our local heart disease death rate is higher than the statewide rate. It is also important to recognize that heart disease is the leading cause of death in women, and women often experience symptoms differently, which can delay care. These are just not statistics. They represent our families, our neighbors, and our community. That is why raising awareness, encouraging prevention, and expanding access to care is so important. During February, the Community Wellness Program will be hosting 2 community resource events in Avenel and Corcoran in collaboration with local partners to offer community resources and preventative health screenings. We are grateful for healthcare partners who are strengthening cardiac care in our community. At this time, I'd like to introduce Tim Haydock from Adventist Health Hanford, who will share more about their cardiac services and ongoing projects in Kings County.
Thank you. Good morning, Tim. Welcome.
We have a presentation too, so somebody's supposed to be sharing it.
All right.
Yeah, we do. Can we pull that up? It's an honor to be here. We represent the leadership team of Adventist Health. Let Patrick introduce himself first.
Yeah, thank you for allowing us to speak today. My name is Patrick Hoffman. I'm the Director of all cardiology services for Adventist Health.
And my name is Tim Haydock. I'm the Chief Operating Officer for Adventist Health in Central California, responsible for Kings, Fresno, and Tulare counties. A proud boy of Kings County, born and raised in Hanford, which is home to my wife and I and our 4 kids in every single way. Next slide, please. All right. I represent the executive team of our Central California network. We have one executive team that oversees everything across the Central Valley, which includes our 4 hospitals in Kern County, hospitals up here in Fresno County, but in Selma, Reedley, and Tulare, as well as our hospital in Hanford, which we all know is the only hospital in Kings County, and it's a responsibility that we take incredibly seriously. Next slide, please. So this is just a visual of our hospital in Hanford, just a little background on it. We built and opened this hospital, our current campus, in December of 2010. We added on the birth center in March of 2016. And Adventist Health is part of, it's one of the largest health systems on the West Coast. There's 28 hospitals. And we should all be very proud that our hospital in Hanford is one of the brightest shining lights in that entire system. Next slide. We are an A-graded hospital by Leapfrog Institute, which is a nationally recognized leader in grading hospitals for safety and quality. Between Fresno, Kings, and Tulare County, there are only 4 A-graded hospitals. One of them is Kaiser in Fresno. The other 3 are our Adventist Health hospitals in Selma, Tulare, and right here in Hanford. Also in Hanford, we're a Gold Plus designated stroke center of excellence with the American Heart Association. Next slide. But the main reason we're here is to talk about our cardiology program. We've had a cardiac program for going on about 3 decades now. We've greatly enhanced it over the last few years, and we've got a major expansion plan that we're going to talk about here in just a second. Patrick will give us some background on the current program.
Next slide, please. So this is our cardiac cath lab that we have in Hanford currently right now, and this is a part of our team that we have there. This is one of the most high-performing teams that we have in our healthcare industry. So our patient satisfaction, our employee satisfaction, and physician satisfaction rank among the highest in this department. Right now, we just have one cath lab, and so we shove a bunch of different services into this one cath lab. So we do see cardiology, we see IR, we see vascular, and we see EP as well too. If you want to go to the next slide. So it's one cath lab that we're doing multiple things. And so these are board certified physicians. Dr. Boswell there in your top left-hand corner is an EP physician. Pretty much he's an electrician of the heart. He's the only one that's doing EP procedures in Tulare and Kings County currently right now. We have Dr. Gupta there. That is our medical director for the Tulare cath lab. Dr. Reddy is our medical director for our Hanford cath lab. And then you have Dr. Gavini, Dr. Rafi, and Dr. Ataran that are all great physicians right here in our network. And we're blessed to have such high quality physicians that are caring for our patients here. Next slide. All right, so you want to see, this is just kind of the day in the life of the cath lab. It's like a school of fish when you go in there with it. You have everybody's just working in conjunction, and the flow is really impressive to watch. It's one of my favorite things to watch in the hospital itself. And it's just amazing what we get to see. But right now, our current state of the cath lab is we can only diagnose what's going on with the cath lab. Now, we've applied for PCI, which means we'll be able to not only diagnose, but we'll be able to fix. And we're next in line with the state right now to be reviewed for that. So that's an exciting thing. And it's going to be a game changer for our local community. You know what she said a little bit a while ago, that cardiovascular disease is the #1 cause of death here, but it's also #1 cause of death in the United States. There's one thing that we all have in common, and that's a reason, big reason why February is so important to bring awareness to your heart. We all have a heart. We only get one of them. Everything you do on a daily basis affects your heart. How much you walk, how much you don't walk, what you eat, what you don't eat, how much you exercise, and if you don't exercise, all affect. And the heart disease is really a silent killer. So a lot of people, they don't realize they have something going on until it's too late. So what we're trying to do is bring awareness to why it's important to get checked, and what's coming down the pipeline for us is going to be able to bring state-of-the-art care right here to Kings County. Next slide.
Yeah, so this rendering doesn't really do justice to what we have planned as a physical expansion to our current hospital here in Hanford. Before I get into the details of that, we always think it's fun to test our audio video capabilities during a presentation. So we've embedded a little video, which is a patient testimonial. If you can go to the next slide, please. Oh. Yeah, no video or no audio. That's the fun part I was talking about. It's all right. If we can't make it work, we'll just move on. I know everybody's got a busy day ahead of them. I know.
That's my cousin.
Well,
Melissa,
hey, man, if you guys are all right with it, we can wait a second. Let's see what we can come
Melissa,
up with.
if you can unmute and put your, turn up your speaker so then we could hear it through your audio. Because you're muted right now. There you go. Melissa, we can't hear the audio. Maybe in your output.
She's still moving.
Jake.
Oh, there you go.
Well, it's a great story.
Yeah, changing maybe
Yeah.
audio output.
Yeah, we'll make sure that you guys all get it. Okay. All right. Cool. Thanks for the patience and the disruption that we infused into things. So our expansion is a $40 million expansion to our current hospital. As Patrick mentioned, we have one cardiac cath lab today. We'll end up with 5 when it's all said and done. Building something like this in the state of California is a bit of an adventure. So there's a long process where you have to submit plans to what's called HCI at the state level. That can take up to a year to go do the back and forth. But we believe by the end of 2027, we should be done with construction and hopefully have this opened sometime early in 2028. One of those cath labs will be what's called a hybrid OR, which will allow us not only to do all the advanced cardiac procedures that we can imagine, but create the pathway for us to do open heart surgery here in Kings County at a time in the future. So something we're really excited about. It's something obviously that we need in this county, and something that we thought was really important that we did something about. It's an incredible privilege to serve Kings County, and it's a wonderful blessing to wake up every day with the opportunity to make an impact on the lives of the beautiful people here in this county. So thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. First of all, shout out to the Neto family. It is my cousin and her family, but they just had a new grandbaby.
Ah, congratulations.
Yeah, so congratulations to them. And Frank talks a lot anyway, so it's probably better we didn't hear the audio. Another shout out, your cardiology department, specifically Dr. Gavini, saved my dad's life. Now, my dad's been gone now for a while, but he gave him many, many, many years. I think at one point my dad collected stents. He had 6 or 7, and then eventually had to have open heart surgery. But Dr. Gavini is the one who made the diagnosis when no one else could. So I'm very grateful to your department. Thank you for everything.
Thank you very much.
If I could have a comment too, I know Supervisor Robinson and myself sit on rural counties representing California board. And a big discussion amongst those 40 counties is the fact that they don't have access to healthcare, and they have to fund it through their own county. So we're very thankful here in Kings County that you're here to do it for us and just take one thing off of our plate. I can't imagine having to go to Sacramento or DC asking for money to let our staff run a hospital. So thank you for being here. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Appreciate all your support too to our county.
Appreciate you.
Also heard a rumor you're the largest employer in Kings County. Is that right?
I believe that's correct. Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. It's a privilege. Thank you very much.
I appreciate it, Mr. Chairman. Supervisor Valley.
I just want to thank you and your staff as well, and your hospital for not only services here in Hanford, but also in the city of Corcoran and the rural communities and the outreach to close the gap between the communities in Kings County that no longer have hospitals, and just kind of bridging that gap between here and Hanford. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Supervisor Thayer.
Everybody else is talking, I guess I'll. Yeah, so just a real short story, thank you too for the presentation, and a shout out to, I call him Little Reddy because I know his dad is old school Reddy, but Karen Reddy, that through, I don't remember how it happened, but I got referred into a cardiologist, and I was like, why? I'm 57 years old and I'm healthy. And I was told, well, it's because you're 57 years old. You need to go get checked. And I just encourage others out in the audience to do the same, because I did. And it was a very interesting process to go through it. And then to get a clean bill of health out at the other end. I mean, many of you know, my former career in law enforcement over, in the sheriff's office and overseeing our coroner's office. And back when I was 40 years old and got into the management team in the sheriff's office, and every Monday I would get the death report of coroner cases from the week prior. And I looked out and I saw these, I paid more attention to the men that were in their early 50s that were laying in our morgue. And it was like, hey, what are these people? Why are they here? That's 10 years from my life. And most of it was just what you spoke about, the leading cause, heart disease. And at the time, that was 2008, I was a fat guy. I was not a skinny person. And that was a transforming portion of my life to get control of my health. And so just thankful for Dennis, those doctors, Dr. Reddy. It was a little nerve wracking because I was like, geez, are you going to tell me something I don't want to hear? But, he gave me a very clean bill of health. So it's obviously, the transformation in my life, 2008 to, whatever that math is moving forward, almost, 18 years to recapture the health. And I just encourage others that are in here that are listening, our employees, to take advantage of that, to take advantage of our employee health center that we have, just to have longevity of life. And that's it. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir. Anybody else? All right. Do we have any public comments? All right.
I have
Go
one
ahead.
last comment. So public health is always about prevention. So we want to get things early so we don't have to be in the point where we're needing a cardiac cath lab. However, we know it's the landscape. You're going to have people with heart disease. As a registered nurse, I worked in cardiac care, my first job, and there were not these resources in Kings County. I worked at Sacred Heart Hospital, and we had to ship everybody out for major cardiac care. So really having a partner like Adventist and the clinic network they provide is amazing for our county and for our residents. And the last thing I want to remind everybody is women's heart care is really important because women don't have, most of the studies and research are done on men. So we know all the symptoms of men, and women tend to have very different. It could be overly tired. It could be a backache, and women tend to be like, I'll just keep pushing through. I'll keep pushing through. And sometimes they end up having heart attacks without ever getting any screening. So I really want to draw attention to women's heart health as well. So we respectfully ask your board to approve this proclamation.
Thank you, Russ. All right. I'll entertain a motion.
If there's no question or comments, I'll move approval.
Supervisor Verboen. Supervisor Valley. Thank you. Madam Clerk.
Joe Nevs.
Yes.
Richard Valley.
All right.
Doug Verboen.
Yes.
Rusty Robinson.
Yes.
Robert Thayer.
Yes.
All right, so at this time, what we'll do is we'll go into the well. We'll take a little picture. So Patrick, Tim, Rose. Yep.
If anybody's interested and they want to be in the picture.
Take the picture here. That much better red.
Sorry. There you go.
Thank you.
Of course.
Thanks, big shame.
All right, so let's see, moving right along, we'll go to administration. Who's doing that? Kyria, Alex, or Cody?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Alex C. Walker, Administrative Analyst, Kings County Administration. Before you this morning is an updated guideline regarding the criteria for how names are added to the Kings County Freedom Memorial. I have the great pleasure co-presenting with the County Veteran Services Officer, Cody Pennington, and I'll first start off the presentation by sharing some initial context about the Freedom Memorial and the recommended action before your board this morning, and then I'll pass the floor to VSO Pennington to share her remarks. Next slide, please. So to start off, the Kings County Freedom Memorial is coming up on its 20th anniversary. First opening to the public on April 9th, 2006. The memorial honors individuals from Kings County who have served the country, recognizing their service and sacrifice. Service members are honored by having their name engraved in granite with flags representing each branch of the military and a prisoner of war/mission action flag flown above the memorial. Next slide. It has been the custom that the names added to the wall are honored in a formal ceremony featuring the presentation of colors, a 21-gun salute, and remarks from various county leaders, veteran groups, and military personnel. The inaugural ceremony included a flyover of a Navy fighter jet and had over 200 community members in attendance. At the time, 763 names were memorialized on the wall, and the last ceremony that recognized names on the wall occurred on May 21st, 2012, bringing the total to the time to 794. Next slide, please. 14 names have been added to the memorial wall since 2012. However, due to strains on county resources and capacity, a ceremony was not held for these individuals at the time of their addition to the wall in 2023. The total number of names on the wall presently is 808. A list of names of the Kings County Memorial are accessible on the county's website. Next slide. In honor of the 14 names on the wall yet to be recognized, and in recognition of the memorial's upcoming 20-year milestone, the county is seeking to host a ceremony in the spring of 2026. The ceremony will likely take place on or before May 2026 near Memorial Day, and the county, with support from the Veteran Services Office, will make a good faith effort to contact the families of those 14 individuals, local veterans groups, and the Lemoore Naval Air Station personnel so that they may attend the planned ceremony. Details on the specific date and time will be shared with the public closer to the event, and the current guidelines have not been updated since July 13th, 2006. Previously, the practice was to have a committee review the requests received for the names to be added on the memorial wall, and with that committee making the final determination. To avoid the unintentional creation of a legislative body under the California Brown Act, staff has recommended that the review of these names, as well as the planning of the ceremony, be coordinated by the Veteran Services Officer and the County Executive Officer or assigned designees. Furthermore, the changes made to the existing guidelines provide clarity on who is eligible to be added to the memorial wall. Specifically, the changes provide clear definitions on being from Kings County and the nature of one's death, removes redundancy, as well as simplifies the process for name reveal and appeal.
The revisions preserve the original intent of the memorial, as well as reflect the practices of the county to date. And if approved by the board, these guidelines will serve as the criteria for future name requests. There are currently no names pending for addition to the wall. And following board approval, county staff, per the coordination of the Veteran Services Officer and the County Executive Officer or their assigned designee, will begin planning the spring 2026 ceremony. The proposed guidelines have been reviewed by County Council and approved as the form, and I'll now pass the floor to VSO Pennington to share some remarks.
Good morning, Chairman, members of the board. Cody Pennington, your new CVSO. It's hard to follow up Alex. He has all the details and really knows how to kind of press everything. My biggest thank you is to him and admin. I know the wall's been something that's important to your board, all of you, and admin. And so to see this finally happening for these members of the community, definitely overdue for these 14 families, but we'll make sure that they are happy with us and with us in May.
Thank you, Cody. Congratulations on your new position.
Thank
It's nice to see you here. We've been used to seeing Scott for a long time.
Yes, yeah, it's definitely a change of pace. Scott, he likes to talk and I used to do the stuff in the background. So we'll figure out how to move forward with just me for now until we get somebody else.
Very good. Welcome. Thank you. All right. Do we have any questions for Alex or Cody?
No questions, Mr. Chair, but just thank you. And I do see Jess sitting in the back that kind of really got the ball rolling on this. And I don't know, Jess, if you want to make any statement of her, you don't have to. But if you'd like to, yeah, come on up here to the dais. I met Jess when I was at the sheriff's office, and then he and I talked when I was running for election. And Jess is SenCal Gold Star. He makes it a point to escort our fallen soldiers, law enforcement, firefighters home. And Jess actually brought it to my attention that there were names that were missing, and that basically essentially that we just need to memorialize this and have these ceremonies for these lost soldiers that unfortunately have it. But anyway, Jess, why don't you tell us what got you started doing this and a little bit about it?
What got me started doing this was I lost my boy in 2009. And it took me a little while, 2 years, to become an ordained minister for the tribes of the of California. So I became a spiritual leader. And since 2011, I've brought home 125 soldiers here just to the Central Valley. There's close to 1,000 here in the state of California, Arizona, and New Mexico, and Texas that have died for our freedom. I bring them home no matter what the circumstances are. If they died by suicide, 22s are still, we're all supporting our demons. So I make sure they are honored no matter what, in law enforcement, firefighters, and military. Every year we make a calendar to make sure that we never forget any of our kids. Just this past weekend was my son's 17th year anniversary date. And it's still fresh neck every day. So I make sure when we brought my boy home, no honoring was done. So my thing is, I want to make sure all of the kids that we bring home that pay the price get honored the right way. And thanks to the supervisors for helping me when I do get someone coming home. I reach out to Richard Thayer. I reach out. I say, hey, I need this. They get the ball rolling for me. And I want to thank you guys for doing everything you guys do.
Thanks, Jess. And also just to point out to you, and thank you, Carrie, for spearheading this. She notified me last week that this coming to be, and that Alex really helped get the ball rolling. I know that I had mentioned it here after having conversations with Jess that there was this need, and so just super appreciative. And I cornered Alex the other day in the admin hallway just to thank him for his time and commitment to it. That it's as an elected official, there's not a magic wand that just gets everything going in place. There's actually human beings that do this stuff behind the background, and I'm thankful, Alex, for your charge on it and doing it. And then again, congratulations, Cody, on assuming the post, and it's
to me, it's just the least that we can do for, especially being a county that has a substantial military presence in it with a Navy base out here that this board should really, in this county and our Veterans Office needs to stay on top of this, and just appreciate the work Alex and Carrie and Cody and your staff. Thank you.
Anybody else? Supervisor Valley.
Mr. Chairman. One, very supportive of this, and glad this was brought to the board's attention, and maintaining it. So, it's a beautiful memorial to honor the folks, the men and women that definitely deserve it. All that was done before I got here, but coming here for the first couple of times and seeing that's something that stands out, and not a lot of counties have. And it's difficult to maintain when you're doing a memorial with names. It's hard enough to do a memorial anyways, but when you have one with names, then you come across some issues, and the last thing anyone wants to do is offend any military family, but especially a family of a fallen soldier. But with that, I also want to congratulate Cody on your new position there, and thankful for being helpful. And with Jess here, I know Cody, Chuck, Nate, Alex, myself. Last week we met. We're working to the last name on that wall is Juan Mendez Carabudias, and I'm chopping up the last name. Juan Mendez Carabudias. Yes, sir. And so the family asked me to help them put together an unveiling ceremony. They worked in the past with some of them really solids, and whatever the process is with Caltrans to get a highway sign dedicated for this young man, it's going to take place, and there's a dedication for the space on Highway 198. So the family asked if I would help put something together. And so as we met, one of our items is to reach out to you, Jess, to help bring some of the escorts and of course the honor guards of the motorcycles, riders, all that. We've done events together with the 5 Pillars of Freedom, so we'll be reaching out on that too. But that's going to take place Wednesday, February 11th, 11 a.m. And it's going to be here outside, right here where we hold the annual Peace Officers Memorial. We won't be in front of that wall. We're not going to confuse this honor with the honor of the names in the wall. We'll stay closer to this side. Short, quick ceremony. And I was going to put it through my board member announcements to make sure everyone's aware, but we're tightening it up, and I want to take the opportunity while Jess was here right now as well. Thank you.
Anybody else? Jess, thanks again for your continued service to our veterans. I can't, yes, sir. Go ahead.
Time is man, up on if we can work on that team.
Push the button. Supervisor Valley, push the button.
I think you ought to have an assembly member or senator sponsor that for you, but I can reach out to Damian Douglas or Alicia Ramirez to see how they started that. But I know the one I'm speaking about went through the office of the assembly member Solis, and then you got to clear it through Caltrans. So we'll figure that out.
Just thanks again, though. We appreciate it. A couple of my uncles served, my brother served. Now I have a little one. I have a 9.5-year-old, and these are the ways that we impress upon them. Freedom's not free. This is very important, and so it's one way we convey it to them and honor the families. Right. Thanks again. I'll entertain them. Well, I didn't ask about the public. Does the public have any comments? Anybody? Yeah. Victor.
Hello, everyone. On behalf of Senator Melissa Hurtado, if there is a project like that, our office would be willing to assist where necessary and provide the resources. I want to be abundantly clear. I have not done something like this, but it's something that I will jump right into and offer any assistance as possible. And I have my business cards if anyone needs one. So thank you.
Thank you, sir. Yes.
Brett Woolman, Deputy Director of Administrative Services, Behavioral Health. I was in the Marine Corps and I got back from Iraq before I was old enough to drink, and so are many of my friends. And I have, thank you to Jess, because I have several of my friends on the trailer he has and the memorial, and I appreciate a lot of these things to remember the people who went. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your service. Anybody else? All right, very good. I'll entertain a motion. All right, Supervisor Thayer. Supervisor Valley, Madam Clerk.
Joe Nevs,
Yes.
Richard Valley,
All right.
Doug Verboen.
Yes.
Rusty Robinson.
Yes.
Robert Thayer.
Yes.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you to Alex. He did tons of work.
Cody's too modest. Before she was the director, she was instrumental in this support along with our former director. So thank you to Cody as well.
Thank you, Alex C. All right. So let's see, you're back up, I guess.
Yes, sir.
So consider introducing an ordinance adding Article 7 to Chapter 23 of the Kings County Code of Ordinances pertaining to the unlawful possession of a detached catalytic converter. It's a mouthful.
That is a mouthful, but you took the words right out of my mouth. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. As Supervisor Robinson said before you this morning is the introduction of an ordinance adding Article 7 to Chapter 23 of the Kings County Code of Ordinances pertaining to the unlawful possession of a detached catalytic converter. A catalytic converter is an exhaust emission control device for vehicles that converts toxic gases and pollutants into exhaust gas from an internal combustion engine into less toxic pollutants. The device contains precious metals such as rhodium, platinum, and palladium, making it an attractive target for thieves. Overall, catalytic converter thefts across the state and in the county have decreased in recent years. Over the past 5 years, there have been 55 catalytic converter thefts in the unincorporated areas of Kings County. To put it in perspective, all 4 of the county's incorporated cities were contacted, and the following are the reported catalytic converter theft totals over the past 5 years. For the city of Avenal, there were 9. For the city of Corcoran, there was 55. For the city of Hanford, 184. And for the city of Lemoore, 99. In both the county and its 4 incorporated cities, catalytic converter thefts are down. The county had only 1 theft in both 2024 and 2025, and the vast majority of catalytic converters thefts in the county over the 5-year period occurred in 2021 with 20 thefts, 2022 with 24 thefts, and 2023 only having 9, representing a significant decrease over time. At the time of the inquiry, the city of Corcoran and the city of Avenel both had 0 thefts in 2024 and 2025. The city of Lemoore had 3 reported thefts in 2024 and 1 reported theft in 2025. And the city of Hanford had 8 in 2024 and 5 in 2025. Regardless of the scale of the issue, catalytic converter thefts have a negative impact on victims, including the cost of damages to the vehicle, the cost to repair the damages, and the cost to replace the catalytic converter itself. The total reported value of the thefts in Kings County specifically is $93,766. The draft ordinance before the board amends the Kings County Code of Ordinances by adding the relevant article and chapter number. The draft ordinance outlines that it's unlawful for any person who is not a licensed recycler or other authorized entity under California Vehicle Code 1085-2.5 to possess a catalytic converter that is not attached to a vehicle unless the person has valid proof of ownership of the catalytic converter as defined in the ordinance. It is important to note for the board's consideration that the draft catalytic converter ordinance could potentially be deemed preempted by California state law if challenged. The reason why is because catalytic converters are regulated under numerous sections of California law, including California Vehicle Code, California Health and Safety Code, and the California Businesses and Professions Code. It is notable that several counties have adopted ordinances regarding the theft of catalytic converters recently. Those counties include Fresno, Kern, Ventura, Riverside, and San Bernardino. These recently adopted catalytic converter ordinances have not been challenged, nor have they been determined to be preempted in a court. The proposed ordinance follows a similar model of the counties referenced previously. A violation of the draft ordinance is considered a misdemeanor, punishable by confinement of up to 6 months in jail and/or fines of up to $1,000 per violation. Each violation constitutes a separate violation, including but not limited to each individual possession of multiple catalytic converters during a single contact by law enforcement. If the board were to adopt an ordinance, it would be only enforceable in the areas of the county under the county's jurisdiction, such as the county's unincorporated areas, including the communities of Armona, Home Garden, and Kettleman City. For comparison purposes, the following are the penalties in other catalytic converter ordinances. Ventura, Riverside, Kern, and Fresno all considered a violation of their respective ordinances to also be a misdemeanor, punishable by 1 year and or a fine of $1,000. San Bernardino considers the violation punishable by 6 months in jail and or a $1,000 fine, akin to the county's proposed draft. Some counties, such as Fresno, Riverside, and Kern, provide for administrative penalties as an enforcement tool. Ventura, San Bernardino counties do not have administrative penalty mechanism in their respective ordinances, and the draft ordinance before the board does not include an administrative penalty due to capacity and expenses associated with collecting minimal fees for the current trend of thefts in Kings County. After the introduction of the ordinance and per the board's direction, the draft ordinance will be brought back to the board on February 3rd, 2026. If adopted by the board at the February 3rd meeting, it will take effect 30 days later, becoming enforceable on March 5th, 2026. The Kings County Sheriff's Office, as well as the incorporated cities' respective police departments, coordinated in the data collection that informed the draft ordinance's development. The ordinance has been reviewed by County Council and approved as informed, and at this time, we respectfully ask your board to introduce an ordinance adding Article 7 to Chapter 23 of the Kings County Code of Ordinances pertaining to the unlawful possession of a detached catalytic converter. I'm available to answer any questions you may have and appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you, Alex. Are there any questions for Alex?
You're saying I got till March 5th to get rid of my catalytic converters?
Sir, it is still illegal under other sections, but you will not be
Illegal
punished
to
on the
take
county level.
It's illegal to take them, but if I have them, I can. It's illegal.
Excuse me?
So it's illegal to take them, but if I have a bunch, I could turn them in before March 5th.
I am not sure if you're a licensed recycler, so I'll defer to council on that one, sir.
All right. Any other questions? Public comments? Any public comments on catalytic converters? All right. Seeing none. Oh, you want to speak, sir?
Come from all the way from Moreno Valley.
Welcome. That's right. That's right.
Through the fog, and I still made it.
You ride a motorcycle?
No, just drove my Prius Prime through the fog and blinker lights, and they were so thick. So I was like, a friend over here, she said, "Well, you could do it. You could do it at home." I said, "No. I have a stake in this because I'm doing this because Sacramento is not doing. They're not going to close the loophole." And specifically, I explained to you when I was here last year, the AB 641 says if a person can steal up to 8 catalytic converters and nothing happens to them. That is the truth. And so the thing is, I've been going to counties like Alex was mentioning, to Ventura, LA County, Kern, Tulare, Monterey, where else? Solo, so all of us could be on the same page. I shouldn't have to do this. My representative should close this loophole, but he ain't gonna do it. So my thing is, if he won't do it, the counties and cities can do it. And it's a common sense ordinance that gives your officers, the deputies, the tools they need to hold someone accountable, whether it's 1 or 8. And that's why AB 641 is called 8 You Skate law, because you skate, and this one is 1 and you're done. Because the fact is, the deputies I've talked to have mentioned to me that they have come across individuals that had catalytic converters, and they knew they probably stole it, but they couldn't do anything because it didn't meet the threshold. It didn't have a identifiable victim. So this will help them to hold these people accountable, because Sacramento will not. They care more about criminals than the people that's victimized. That like in your areas, even the agriculture areas, that the farmers, they depend on these vehicles to make a living. So my thing is, and I thank you, sir, and your colleagues for considering this ordinance, and hopefully you adopt it, and hopefully we could get.
We got to wrap it up.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Monterey County, Tulare, and the 40 in your organization, sir, the rural counties, ask them to adopt this ordinance. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you for bringing it to our attention. Without your help, we probably wouldn't be doing it. So thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks for your travels. I'm glad they were safe. Safe travels home through that fog. All right. Anybody else? Very good.
If there's no question or comments, I'll move approval.
Supervisor Verboen. Supervisor Thayer. Madam Clerk?
Joe Nevs.
Yes.
Richard Valley.
Yes.
Doug Verboen.
Yes.
Rusty Robinson.
Yes.
Robert Thayer.
Yes.
Very good. Motion passes. All right. So now, let Madam CEO, are you presenting?
I am not. I'm actually turning it over to Michelle.
Hello, Michelle.
I think this is our first time presenting actually too.
Oh,
No pressure.
Well, in the last 12 years. Good morning, Chairman, members of the board. I'm here this morning to respectfully request your approval and consideration for the addition of a full-time fiscal analyst position within the administration department. Over the course of the last several months, we've been discussing with departments how we can better support them. And we've identified approximately 5 departments that are doing fiscal services without appropriate fiscal staff. So they are deferring those responsibilities to either their executive assistants or other staff with no fiscal background. Those departments include elections, human resources, the University of California Cooperative Extension, County Council, and the library. Our office and administration has actually taken on some of that responsibility for some of those departments already, and we're doing that through the use of our administrative analysts. And what that's doing is pulling those analysts away from administrative analyst duties to cover fiscal responsibilities. So we are respectfully requesting your approval of a position. It is not currently budgeted in fiscal year 26. The cost is approximately $117,000. So the second item is an approval of a budget appropriation and transfer form from your board so that we can hire and we can encourage and promote support for these departments that need us.
Good. Any questions for Michelle? Any comments? Any public comments? Yes, sir. Lupe.
I just want to add and support and ask that you guys please adopt or allow admin to go out and recruit for this analyst. I mean, I do the budget in our department, and I've been doing this since I was appointed back in 2019. It is extremely challenging to be able to operate efficiently within the office and still have concerns about the budget. So we go back and forth with admin. So having someone there to do this for us is going to be, and Kira's probably going to speak to my truth, is that it's a challenge. And so I'm just asking you guys, please consider it and go with the flow and make sure we get someone to help us out. I'm sure other departments feel the same. They just don't want to speak up. So thanks so much.
Thank you, Lupe. Madam HR, Carolyn?
Yes, Carolyn Lees, Human Resources Director. I echo what Lupe said. It's absolutely a need for departments like us who don't have a fiscal staff. We learn through bumps and bruises along the way. It is a strain on my staff. I've been just trying to bring anybody I can into the budget process and teaching everybody what I know, which is probably very limited. And it would be great to have somebody who's a subject expert rather than them hear us complain about our budget every year. So I really appreciate the support for admin to come up with this idea and to add HR to the list of departments to be supported by the position. So I really appreciate it.
Very good.
Thank you all.
I'd also like to add briefly that we will be doing an analysis. 5 departments for a singular individual can be a lot. So we will be doing an analysis, and we may end up having to determine that the individual needs to be placed in a specific department, or we might be coming to your board in the next budget cycle for further solutions. Leo with UC Co-op couldn't be here today, but he did provide a written response that he too is incredibly supportive of this effort. So he's echoing the response from some of your other department heads.
I've asked for this from other administrations. So this is the first administration in the Curia that has actually taken in this how far we've gotten. So other CAOs, CEOs have been asked by me to add a position to assist us with our budgets, and no one's done anything about it, but here we go, Curia. So thank you.
Very good. Very good. All right. Anybody else?
Is that an in-house analysis that you're talking about? what's going to be done?
Yes, what we'll end up doing is having this individual do functional timesheets, which will track how much time they're spending on each individual department to identify where our greatest needs are. We might determine that there's one department or two that need a dedicated fiscal, but that will come later.
Just a comment that to me, this is long overdue. And I know that early on, just sidebar stuff, Carrie and I had conversations about this. And it's just long overdue for operational efficiency in this county. Like our one of our number one things as this board is the oversight of taxpayers' dollars. And then we just kind of throw, not intentionally, but just have departments just kind of out there floating and trying to figure it out versus getting them this crucial resource to just make things better. And the more things we make the more we make things better, the better we serve our constituents and the public, and et cetera, et cetera. And with that, I would make a motion to accept this, Mr. Chair.
Supervisor Thayer, Supervisor Verbill. All right, Madam Clerk.
Joe Nevs.
Yes.
Richard Valley.
Aye.
Deborah Boone.
Yes.
Rusty Robinson.
Yes.
Robert Thayer.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Very good. Thank you. Hello, Matthew.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Matthew Boyette, Assistant CEO, Kings County Administration. So I'm before your board for consideration of the board and committee assignments for 2026. So your board automatically serves on several different boards. Obviously, the Board of Supervisors, the Housing Authority of Kings County Public Finance Authority, the Board of Equalization, the In-Home Supportive Services Public Authority Board, the California Public Finance Authority and California Community Housing Authority, which we refer to as CalPFA and CalCHA boards, as well as the Mid-Kings River GSA board. So in addition to that, your board also serves on various other boards and committees. There's several different assignments, but some of those are the Ag Advisory Committee, CalViva, countless and various CSAC committees, for which the CSAC subcommittees there are requesting a primary and alternate representative from your board to serve on each of those committees, as well as Workforce Development Board and the Kings County Action Organization Board, amongst others, which your board has the list in front of you there, and it was posted here with the packet. So I'm just before your board this morning to go for the approval of the 2026 board and committee assignments. And just for the record, administration doesn't make any recommendations on any particular assignment. We'll leave that up to your board for discussion. So thank you.
Supervisor Valley, didn't you want to pull this item? There was some confusion or something. Is that correct? You wanted to table it?
And initially, but I think that we're up to date from looking at this. I thought this might have been a different version of committees. I was a little confused at first, but I think
it's clear.
Yes,
Okay, very good. Do we have any questions for Matthew? Any public comments? All right, very good. I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve, Mr. Chair.
Supervisor Valley. Second. Supervisor Verbill. Madam Clerk.
Joe Nevs.
Yes.
Richard Valley.
Aye.
Deborah Boone.
Yes.
Rusty Robinson.
Yes.
Robert Thayer.
Yes.
So on Carrie, I got a question on this here. RCRC is not on here.
RCRC has a special, I guess, an action item that comes in November. And so, we already appointed those positions last year.
Different
So
timing.
correct.
got
And
it.
this one's kind of the committee assignments. Those ones are actually designated. RCRC wants them designated. CSAC is similar item. So
Okay, thank you.
I would just like, Mr. Chairman, maybe the clerks can just clarify. There's one committee that's, I believe, is missing that I served on with Joe Nevs, and it has to do with the tribe. And we were basically the lead negotiators between the tribe and the county for the MOU. I think in 2020 or 2021 when their compact was coming up, that was one of the main items I was confused about. And so, I want to make sure that I'm still on that committee and nothing changed, but I just don't see it. But if that could be situated after the meeting, that's fine with me too.
yes, if your board wants to take action now and we can add a line here that talks about it. I think maybe the reason why it maybe is not on here because we don't have active negotiations on the compact. However, we can formalize it and add it to the list, should your board, want to proceed with that.
That's correct, Mr. Chair. That's an ad hoc committee that's only formed during those negotiations with the MOU. So, and you will find other committees on here at various times for a variety of reasons. But those are ad hoc, they're short-lived. And whether it's the, interacting with Lemoore Naval Air Station with the, some short-term project, whether it's a year or a year and a half, but not all of those bodies are identified.
That clarified? Okay, very good. So motion passes. All right, we're on the study section.
Yes, sir. So before your board this morning is our study session for our 2026 legislative platform. So just for your information here, we do have our state and federal lobbyists online here throughout the presentation. If you have any questions, either at the end or in the during the presentation, they are available. So we have Shaw, Yoder, Antwist, Melger, and Lang on, as well as Paragon. So and our state and federal lobbyists respectively. So just wanted to first thank all of the department heads for all of their input and collaboration on this. We had some pretty fundamental changes to the way we kind of organize our ledge platform that Alex will go ahead and talk about. But they were very, very supportive and engaged in the process. So again, we couldn't have done this without them, as well as your board for your support and your input as well. And then just want to extend my thanks to both of our state and federal lobbyists there for all of their continued hard work and coordination. So much of the ledge platform that's before you is a carryover from last year. We've got a couple of additions that Alex will run over real quick, and then we'll bring it back to your board for questions. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and pass it on over to Alex. And again, a huge thanks to Alex for really, getting into this and putting this together for us. So thank you.
Thank you, Matthew. And again, good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. As part of this collaborative effort, Matthew and I together have drafted the platform for your review. And this morning, we are seeking feedback on the efforts and actions listed within the proposed 2026 platform. Most of the legislative priorities are carryover from the previous year, and our state and federal lobbyists, again, are present on teams. And the presentation will overall just review the new changes and updates for this upcoming year. Next slide, please. So starting off, what's new? There's really the most of the changes that you see before you are updates to 2026 platform to really just organize the platform in a more cohesive way. The platform was changed to be organized by topic rather than by department. For example, there's now a public safety category opposed to having an individual sheriff section, an individual fire section, an individual probation section, etc. Historically, each department had their own section under an overarching topic. However, this year the platform has 8 overarching topics, and these 8 overarching topics are agricultural, natural resources and water, health and welfare, public safety, veteran and military affairs, general government, housing and transportation, community, economic, and workforce development, and other legislative priorities. The change was made to be more aligned with the member associations the county is a part of, such as CSAC or RCRC, as well as for additional clarity and the reader's overall convenience. Second, the 2026 platform is now more of a policy-based document rather than a narrative-based document. Previously, the platform was written to have the policy objective of the board and then further elaborate with context, examples, etc. While there is value to this, it does make the document longer and in some regards repetitive and too specific, losing the document's overall flexibility. Recognizing this, the platform's language was simplified to have the policy objective just in a more concise, clear, and unambiguous way. In this spirit, numbered lines were added in addition to page numbers, and this overall helps staff reviewing the legislative platform to confirm if something does or does not live in the platform requiring board action, as well as recruiting a more navigable and citable document. Third and finally, the platform has a clearer organization between state and federal platforms. This reduces redundancy and increasingly promotes the county's overall legislative philosophy. Understanding what's different, it's important to address what's the same. Overall, it's still a bifurcated platform, meaning that there is an individual state section and individual federal section, and these remain separate. And each department continues to have their own unique voice representing their unique needs and forming the policies listed. Ultimately, this is a unified document together in tandem with the state and federal platforms having the parity where appropriate. Next slide, please. One of the more fun changes to the draft platform is an updated look. Reflecting on other county legislative platforms, it is recommended that Kings County adopt a new style, not only for a fresh look, but because on the bottom corner it has the Board of Supervisors photos, making the board more recognizable in advocacy meetings. I should warn you, you may get asked for your autograph. It also clearly states the approval date, which was not previously included on the platform. Next slide, please. And then similar to an updated title page, in spirit of the clearer organization between the state and federal platforms, each now have their own title pages to help the transition between sections. And again, this is one unified document, but better organized for a clearer review and interpretation. Next slide, please. For the 2026 legislative priorities, both at the state and federal level, there are 5 top priorities proposed. These are shared by both platforms, highlighting the nexus between these issues and the impact of state and federal decisions on the local level. First, on agricultural, natural resources, and water, this area continues to remain a high priority for this year. Water is incredibly important to Kings County despite heavy rain in recent years. And recently, it was announced that California is no longer in a drought, yet Kings County understands these continued challenges. And under this section, the language mostly stay the same from the 2024 and 2025 platform. Second, under unfunded mandates, this item was a topic of much discussion, recurring in nearly all conversations with departments. The concern is the possible unfunded mandates to the county and that the county's revenue streams may not be able to keep up with them. This is especially relevant due to some of the, how you would say, unprecedented risks that the county is facing at different sources at the state and federal level. And this is also paired with the state's own financial challenges and constraints. Third and fourth, respectively, is homelessness and high-speed rail. These two continue to be priorities for the county, and the two carry their own unique challenges. The key being to finish high-speed rail construction in the county so that we can reopen our roads to the public, and to secure additional funding to homelessness through various means, such as programs, shelters, and more. And both these topics, acknowledging that funding constraints at the local level and the potential cost shifts at the state and federal level is detrimental to serving residents effectively and addressing these issues. Closing off on topic number 5, broadband. In 2025, broadband was added as our newest and 5th priority to ensure legislative support for the completion of current Kings County broadband projects and to meet continued needs. With the recent broadband projects in Kettleman and Lemoore Island District area, ensuring these projects are completed and the whole county is connected is a priority. Next slide, please. Now reviewing the state legislative platform under water and natural resources. Again, this was language largely preserved under the 2025 platform, and this was taking feedback from the Ag Commissioner Sealer's office, CDA, Community Development Agency, assessor, and more. And overall, we just refined the language on water advocacy, again, carrying over those 2025 priorities. Under health and welfare, it was a carryover from the 2025 platform, and we took feedback from public health, behavioral health, human services agency, as well as the public guardian and veteran services office. We removed outdated language regarding COVID-19, and we also affirmed and refined the language on protecting the county from unfunded mandates, reflecting supportive language to protect state versions of Medicare, Medicaid, as well as the Affordable Care Act funded programs that the county residents rely on. Under public safety, this was informed by discussions with the sheriff's office, fire department, probation department, and the district attorney's office. And the key topic was of Proposition 36 implementation, funding for critical services, and continuing to advocate support for the county's development of a fire and EOS headquarters. Under Veterans and Military Affairs, we preserved the language from the 2025 platform, but we moved it to its own category informed by discussions with the Public Guardian and Veteran Services Office. Under general government, these were discussions informed by the Human Resources Department, assessor, clerk, recorder, library, elections, as well as administration. And again, these are mostly a carryover of 2025, illustrating both the refined nature of the platform as well as their pressing relevance. We added clarifying language on preserving and protecting local control, as well as protection of local funding streams. Under housing and transportation, the county organized this with feedback from CDA, Public Works, and again, we preserved 2025 language by large. Under the community economic and workforce development category, this was a discussion with CDA as well as the job training office. And we cleaned out updated information as well as unclear language, such as on AB 98. And then under other legislative priorities, this is a carryover and the immigration language is unchanged from last year. Next slide, please. Now jumping into the 2026 federal legislative priorities, this is very much a mirror of the state platform in some respects, so I'll just do some high-level callouts. Most notably under health and welfare, we also removed outdated language on COVID, as well as we removed language that was regarding supporting virtual visits for foster youth, because this goal was accomplished, and this was something that was brought to our attention by the Human Services Agency. We also affirmed the language and refined it on protecting against unfunded mandates, similar to the state side. And under public safety, these were the exact same discussions, again, with a note of Proposition 36, with an additional focus on funding for critical services and advocating for the development of that earmark for the fire and OES headquarters. Under water and natural resources, again, this was an exact carryover from the 2025 legislative platform, and we preserved the language from that platform. Under general government, we did clean up some outdated language as well as added clarifying language on preserving local control, as well as, again, reaffirming those importance of funding streams due to uncertainty and risk that we're seeing at the federal funding level. Under housing and transportation, again, with support from CDA and Public Works, we preserved the language, and the same is true for the remaining two categories, with other legislative categories really being just a reorganization of the platform, moving them to their own section, opposed to under those other 8 sections. Next slide, please. Overall, administration plans to bring the 2026 platform to your board for adoption on February 3rd, 2026, ahead of the NACO conference. And in between now and then, the county's department heads with your board may request final changes and make proposals which will be reviewed and presented to the board before its adoption. At this time, we respectfully ask your board to share any questions or comments, and then staff, our lobbyists, and I are available to answer any questions you may have, as well as revise the platform per your board's direction. Thank you.
Thank you, Alex. You know, that was a beautiful picture of the barn until you put our pictures on. All right. Do we have any questions for Alex? Do you have any comments? Supervisor Verboen? Is it?
Yeah, Alex, thank you very much. This is my 16th year going back to DC and Sacramento with this booklet. And this is the nicest one I've ever had. The very first year I went back there with nothing. I walked into the room, we got there late, flight was delayed, showed up next morning at 8 o'clock in the morning with Congressman Denham's office, walked in, everybody looked at me, what do you want to talk about? Well, I didn't know nothing. So this is a big change in 16 years. So I really appreciate it. We got something to back ourselves up on. We got something to lead with a picture on it for our constituents and our representatives in DC and Sacramento. So thank you. This makes it really nice. So it's nice to leave and have them know who you are after you left. So generally it had to be my personality, but now we got a picture to go with it. So thank you.
No, that's a big help. So when we go back there, sometimes you meet with staff, sometimes you get to meet with the member, but particularly with staff, so because we don't always know all the staff, those pictures will be helpful. So thank you for that. And also to that, you know, we go back there and we have these asks, and you know, sometimes we lobby hard, but we don't always know how we end up. And so I think at this point, I think we've had some success with the fire headquarters, I believe, the OES. That's not all the way through yet, right? But it's passed the House, and a good chance it's going to go through the Senate. And then with the Armona project, I think of the 5 million ask, we got about 2 million, which is passed both houses, and we're waiting for the president, I believe, to sign it. So this is not all in vain. This is very important work. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Yes, Supervisor there.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, just one thing, and whether this board wants to add it or not, is I see the top priorities, the top 5 priorities, and the only one that I would suggest is missing is a priority of lowering the cost of energy to our constituents, fuel, power, natural gas, that those costs just need to get controlled somehow. And then And then I don't know if under the auspice of power, I know that talking to people who have invested in solar, right? The state put out, a carrot for people to pursue investing in solar, and then they invest in solar, and then they change the rules as to what those people who made those investments in solar, what the power companies purchase that solar back from changes. And so it's just that we need to protect those in our county that have done that. So I just think that there needs to be a sixth thing added on here, and it just needs to be energy and encompass all of that. Again, with the cost of fuel, diesel, aircraft fuel, et cetera, et cetera.
Absolutely. And Supervisor Thayer, for your attention and for the board's attention, if your board would like to direct a sixth priority, that's something our office can do. But those priorities are reflected in the draft platform before your board, and it starts on page 5.
You're saying that energy is on page 5?
There, some of the stuff regarding solar is there lives in different sections. We could follow up offline with specific numbering.
Yeah, it doesn't need to be made necessarily separate. I saw that there were some things in here, down here, number 26, increased funding for the exploration and use of solar energy. But I'm talking more about just protecting the protection of the consumer or the person who's invested in it, that you invest expecting to get certain dollar amount or pennies amount for what you're selling back onto the grid, and the state keeps changing that rule. And so people who invested 5 years ago are not getting the same rate of return, if you will, from their investment. And so I saw that there's a few places in here that spoke of it, but specific to solar is that the consumer, the investor is protected at the time of purchase. Whatever the rate is, just needs to be what the rate is. And that's just my opinion. And then again, generally, the cost of electricity, what's costing to power your home or your business. And then the cost of gasoline at the gas station, whether it's gas, diesel, aircraft fuel, whatever. I didn't see any of that. I mean, I saw something in here about the gas tax, but I don't recall how extensive it was. I just think that we need to prioritize to our constituents about lowering what the cost of living is and what we're paying for power and energy in this state, in this county.
Thank you, Supervisor. Assistant County Executive Officer Boyette and I can take a look at the platform and have an offline conversation with you if you'd like as well.
And to your point, Supervisor Thayer, I was in an airplane flight with a guy who worked nationally with energy, and he said that he wasn't speaking of Kings County, but he was speaking of Fresno County, saying that it's one of the highest costs of energy in the United States. So anything we can do to curb that is a help. So staff will look into it. Right? Okay. Any other comments? No. Any public comment? Wendy?
Hey, good morning, everybody. Wendy Osikafo, Human Services Director. Just wanted to thank Alex and Matthew. It's been a really good process, I think, this year, and not having the department separate, where we could come together with those in the similar category and brainstorm the things that we're all struggling with and want to advocate for was helpful. Actually, I gave an additional piece of feedback just yesterday that's probably not reflected in this draft, but for those of you going to Washington shortly, I wanted to mention this. It's less of a legislative component in terms of being for or against any particular legislative policy, but we are seeing administrative action where, for example, funding is frozen for mandated programs. And so I asked for an element to be added in there, because what that means is the mandate's still there. We're still required to provide the service and the program and the entitlement, but then the federal funds are frozen, which just becomes a cash flow issue for the county. If programs changed and the Congress takes action to change the requirements, prohibit or restrict or eliminate a program, then having time to implement that is obviously important, right? Because that rolls down and we need time to put those things in place. But those things aren't necessarily happening, but the funding is being proposed for freeze. That we get notified of that, then there's a lot of court action, and then we get back on the roller coaster ride. It just makes it difficult for our planning. It puts us at risk of shortfalls here in the county, both to cover staffing and these entitlements that we're required to pay. So I looked for some generic wording. I'm not sure that that's necessarily unique to my department. And it isn't about being in opposition or support of the policy decisions, but more about how that funding is being withheld without policy changed. So I hope that makes sense. I just thought it'd be a good opportunity to highlight that, so that if you have an opportunity to advocate, that would be helpful.
Thank you, Wendy. Alex.
Mr. Chair.
Oh, Supervisor Neves.
Yeah, part of the qualifications too used to be on an annual basis and now it's on a 6-month basis. So they've doubled the workload with no additional funding. So it's not just adding on to the workload, it's also doubling the workload by having to qualify that individual every 6 months without a streamlined process. Now, you might get some AI in there, you might get some other policies that will help streamline that. But right now, it's very, very difficult when somebody has to fill out the paperwork twice a year.
Okay, very good. Alex?
Mr. Chairman, first and foremost, please allow me the opportunity to thank Director Osakawa for her comments. I did want to share that the draft before your board this morning that either is or will be available online does incorporate the edits that the Human Services Agency provided to both. Yeah. The Assistant County Executive Officer Boyette and I worked very fast, so we were able to get that before your board, and we also welcome your board's additional comments, or as well as any other department heads' additional comments.
All right, real good.
Just one more thing.
Yeah,
I
but-
just say this to Wendy too. I know that when we were with behavioral health a few weeks ago, asked for some bullet points. If there's those bullet points, do you want to send to admin? I don't know who all up here is going to go to Washington DC. I'll be there next month. And you know, just those little talking points that are helpful to go and say, hey, by the way, these are the consequences of some of these things that are happening. And I know that I think behavioral health was working on some, and Rosemary, I see you back there too, nodding your head that any of those or any of our department heads that are listening that it could be in here, but it's just helpful to have like, oh yeah, let me remind somebody back in DC that your on and off switch is messing with our county. So that would just be helpful, at least to me, and how I plan to deliver back there. So thank you.
Yeah, Supervisor Verboen and I go back. And so if you do that, talking points are great.
Yeah, we generally have about 30 minutes from the time our appointment starts till we have to be out of there. Out of that 30 minutes, you're always late. You need to leave early. So you're down about 15 minutes to get your talking points down. So there's no time for nothing, no fluff. Just get your basic points. So get it in writing so we can leave it and we can have staff follow up after we leave. So it's very important to do that. So everybody's really busy. And we try to focus on the people that can help in certain areas. So we hit as many congressmen and senators as we possibly can. We haven't had a senator to talk to since Feinstein left. The ones that have replaced her have been vacant, gone, not even a staff. So we do have 2 senators now that we can talk to with staff. So we've missed about 3 or 4 years of not talking to a senator. And so it'll be good. And I go back a couple times a year. I went back one time when we had iTunes Social. So then they all showed up there. So I talked to them at that time. So anytime we can talk to them to get our point across is always good. And it's always better we can hand them this and their staff can work on it because it's all just young kids handling it and having their ear. So thank you.
Oh, good. Anybody else? No? Oh, hello, Victor.
Hi, hello, Victor Severn Jr. on behalf of Senator Melissa Hurtado. I just wanted to come before your board today and just make you aware our website is currently up with the bill ideas and budget request platform set up. So if we do have those, we are asking individuals in the community and boards as well to submit those with us. On a personal note, I have been able to meet with most of the city managers within Kings County within the last couple of weeks to get their insight, to get their opinion, to get their concerns, to feed that to our legislative director, chief of staff, and Senator Hurtado, of course, and hopefully working to set up a meeting soon with Curia as well to go over the county. I just want to cover one last point. The senator is now appointed as the budget subcommittee 4 chair. So it's an important role. She is the only Central Valley Democrat to serve on the budget committee. So that is a huge thing that she is working to ensure our voices are heard and fought for through the budget process. And so if we ever need any help, we're willing to stand by Kings County and help where necessary. Thank you.
How's the grazing coming along?
I believe that bill is being worked on with the Labor Committee. Still, hopefully we have some resource. The senator did win budget money last cycle for Kern County Fire to work with the grazing and hopefully show some results with that. And so we're hoping that can cause some traction.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Madam Council, this is study session, so is it an action item?
I can answer that. So the plan was to do a study session, receive feedback, and then next board meeting on the 3rd, we were actually going to bring the item for adoption.
So I think that that does it for now. We'll go on to board member announcements. So Supervisor Nets.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Back announcing basketball at Lamar College. Conference play opened up. This period does go over a couple of weeks against College of Sequoias with the games on the 14th and then Columbia College on the 17th. Had the opportunity to judge the Lions Club speech contest, the Kings Lions Club, on January 21st. Their topic was adolescent mental health issues. So it was some pretty good speakers, very good information. They did their research and did well. Attended the Central Valley chapter of the Moving and Storage meeting at Tachi Palace. Victor was very bored, but it was a interesting meeting talking about the shipping and storage and trying to get military personnel from one duty station to the next in the most viable way and affordable way. And it was pretty deep in the weeds, but and I certainly could understand how someone could be somewhat bored with it because there were a lot of technical stuff that probably didn't need to be aired in that arena. On the 23rd, attended the Central California Blood Center South Valley Battle of the Badges at Ward's Banquet at Wild Jack's Restaurant in beautiful downtown Traver. And if you have not been there, they have some pretty good sandwiches. Thanks to the Kings County Health Department, Kings County is now a 3-time winner, and we'll have that trophy coming back and certainly look forward to working with the Central California Blood Center in the future. Also donated blood in the Visalia Center on the 24th, and there is a new double red blood cell donation opportunity now. It helps young people at the Valley Children's. They take out twice as many red blood cells. It gives you 20 minutes to give blood instead of the traditional 10 for 1 unit. And what it does is it washes out some of the red blood cells, mixes it back with saline, and puts it back into your system. It's a very unique, very effective way of collecting blood. You do get 2 credits because they are taking twice as many red blood cells out of your system. But they're not taking all the juice with it. And it works out extremely well. So if you get a chance, you might ask them how that works. And if you want to continue with whole blood or go into the double red blood cell donation. Another basketball game on the 24th against Merced College. Attended the Tachi Palace Community Breakfast on the 26th. The City of Lamar Recreation Foundation was the recipient, winning $5,000, and I won 2 tickets to Disneyland. Yeah, we'll be going to, or if I can talk my wife and her sister going, that'd be perfect. But yeah, so the 70th anniversary would be kind of nice, I think, to go. So we'll see how that works.
I want to see you on Mr. Toad's Wild Ride.
Yeah, I barely have a hard time getting on the Matterhorn. The behavioral health meeting took place yesterday, and I certainly want to thank that group for getting together. The community planning process results were talked about. CAO will have to sign off on it and come before this board in about June or so. And that process is moving on as well as can be expected. And so we'll see how that goes out. And then yesterday, a special meeting of the Kings County Oversight Committee met to be able to get all of the paperwork done and submitted to the state by February 1st. We met that deadline, and we kind of changed some of the deadlines for next year. So hopefully it'll work out better. With that, thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you, Supervisor Nance. Supervisor Terry.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. last week was sworn in at King's Community Action Organization as a board member again for the 2026 year, and it was a nice meeting. And then on the 22nd, participated in that Advocacy 101 in prep for the DC trip on what to expect. And then lastly, I've just been working, but actually not just last week, but I've been working on this for a period of time. At some point in time, we'll start shedding some of the details on it, but working just on the history of the District 5 supervisors back to the creation of the county and working through. It's been Rob Bentley helped supply some information and just working on doing that for just a little history lesson for Kings County. It's specific to District 5, and that's it. Thank you.
Supervisor Bell.
Nothing to report at this time, Mr. Chairman.
Supervisor Verboen.
Thank you. So last Wednesday, we had our first meeting of RCRC in Sacramento. And we appointed our new chair, which is going to be Miles McGentry from Mariposa County. Our vice chair will be from Santa Barbara County, which will be Bob Nelson. And our second vice chair would be Ann Cantrell from Napa County. I was also appointed as the Sigma representative on ad hoc committee on that one as well. Also, I was also appointed on the vice chair at Ag and Water for CSAC. And then also yesterday, we sat in a meeting with NACO, which are National Association of Counties, and we have a resolution to propose back in DC, interim resolution supporting water reliability for ag and food safety. So we're trying to get our associations such as CSAC, RCRC, and NACO to support our need for water, because that way we have something to back it up. When we go to DC showing this, we can show that we have all 58 counties supporting what we're doing. So without that, we don't get anything done. And then on our RCRC meeting, we had the Secretary of Ag came in there, Karen Ross. Rusty sat behind me, and it was a pretty good meeting. So I think that's all.
You didn't give me a hug, though.
No, I got the hug. I got called out. And David Topanga, Assembly member, he came and swore in our new members.
Thank you, Supervisor. First, just a shout out to our lobbyists. So Paul Yoder at state level, thanks to Paul for his efforts. And then Joe and Hassan, I think Hassan might be off now, but he was on earlier. And Tom at Fed level, because they've been pretty effective. I already told you about Armona and also about the Firehouse OES. Those were kind of big achievements. Tuesday, January 13th, met with representatives of American Ambulance. Daniel was just here. I saw him leave. And so it was good to make that contact with him. We appreciate their efforts in the county. Also, Armona Community Service meeting that night. Once again, the backup well. We had a $5 million ask, but thanks to David Valadeo, which I'm grateful to, he was able to secure $2 million. So that's a good step. Kelly Granger says he can work with that initially. We'll try and get the additional $3 million, but for right now, we're grateful to have the two, because we don't have a reliable backup well if something happens to the first one or it needs work. So important. Wednesday, the 14th, attended a budget training meeting with Supervisor Verboen and staff. Excited to see the county roll out a zero-sum budget. Thank you very much, Kyria, to improve our financial accuracy. It just helps. It's kind of like cleaning your garage. You got to take everything out and put it in one at a time. And that's the way that you get a better snapshot of it. We use that at Airboard, which is a $1 billion business, and it's been quite helpful. So last Wednesday, I attended RCRC with Supervisor Verboen in Sacramento, and as he stated, California Ag Secretary Ross spoke with us. And then yesterday, thanks to the invite by Supervisor Verboen, Congressman Fong came, and that was at Verboen's request, I believe, correct? And we were able to discuss earmarks, budget requests. Fire chief was there, the sheriff was there, our staff was there, and then Supervisor Verboen and myself. So it was a productive meeting, just getting him acquainted with all the needs of the county. And he's a sharp guy. He knew a lot of it in advance, but we filled in the cracks for him. So thank you very much, Supervisor Verboen.
Yeah, one more thing I want to add. So during RCRC, it's a League of Cities has their same event. So we were done about 3:00 on Wednesday afternoon, and me and a buddy of mine walked over to the League of Cities meeting and kind of sat down and listened. So at that time, High Speed Rail was making a presentation. So we still have High Speed Rail on our platform, even though we're really not do anything to go against them or with them. We just want to make sure they finish the project. It was ironic that we sat there after 16 years of working with them. They were selling a story to all the cities in the state of California when they only have 5 cities to work with right now, from Bakersfield to Hanford to Fresno to Madera to Merced. I was with Merced supervisor, and we were listening to what they had to say, and they weren't saying anything. All they're doing is trying to get people to support them without talking to the people that are impacted. So I think it's important that we keep Hike the Rail on our platform to keep them accountable. And it's very important because they also had a Hike the Rail meeting. We were on the 16th floor and the 14th floor. They were with Rusty in the elevator, and they told Rusty, well, we're coming through your town. Well, no shit. You guys have been here since 2011. We're very much aware of that. So they keep changing personnel. So it's important to keep that on the forefront, to make them be accountable, finish the project, and don't leave anything in ruins here. So I think that's extremely important. Very good. Thank you.
All right, thank you. So what we're going to do now, we're going to adjourn into closed session. We have some items on that. And then you'll see us again here shortly. It was originally scheduled for 11 o'clock for California Public Finance Authority meeting. So are we going to do that now? We're going to go into closed session first, right?
It's okay. It's okay. I could just, I could just submit the report as is
No,
written.
we want to hear from you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. So the board did receive correspondence dated January 13th from the Ag Commissioner Sealer, weights and measures regarding the disposal of weighing and measuring devices. The board received correspondence dated January 12th from McCormick Barstow attorneys at law regarding the request under election code section for the Board of Supervisors to call a special election for 2 open board seats for the Tulare Lake Reclamation District. The board additionally received correspondence dated January 16th from Dwayne Morris LLP attorneys at law regarding the Tulare Lake Reclamation District response to Sandridge Partners' request for a special election. And lastly, the board received a monthly fund balance report from the Treasurer's report of cash investments, both for December from the Kings County Director of Finance. For upcoming events, the Kings County Library will host its mobile library pop-up at the Lemoore Recreation Center today, January 27th from 12 to 1. Kings County Behavioral Health will host its Veteran Support Group tonight, Tuesday, January 27th from 5:30 at the Veterans Memorial Hall here in Hanford. Kings County Library will have its Makerspace Arts and Craft at the Corcoran Branch this Thursday, January 29th from 3:30 to 4:30. And lastly, the Kings County Clerk Recorder's Office will provide wedding ceremony services to residents every Thursday by appointment only. This year, Valentine's Day actually falls on a Saturday. So the Clerk Recorder's Office will be by appointment open on Saturday to offer special Valentine's Day marriage ceremonies. We've advertised this on our social media outlets, so we wanted to also get the word out to our county staff. The appointments are limited, so please call our Clerk Recorder's Office to schedule. For upcoming agenda items, the following agenda items are for February 3rd. Following that, we are dark. Admin has 4 items: the adoption of the legislative platform that was presented today, the introduction of the ordinance for amending the Kings County ordinance to make changes to the emergency services, justice portal, usage agreement, and a claim for damages received from our risk department. Child support has 1 item on a release of information from the California Law Enforcement Telecommunications System. Fire has 1 item on acceptance of a transportation safety grant. Health has 3 items: a program letter with Adventist Health for family medicine residency rotation, an agreement for healthcare services for physical therapy services, an amendment to a drug pricing program MOU. Library has 1 item, an amendment to an agreement with Always Moving for some moving activities that happen with the relocation of the temporary facility. Public Guardian has 1 item for authorized bank signers, and Public Works has 3 items: the Kings County Fire Station partial remodel, a 16th Avenue Tulare Lake Canal Bridge replacement, and no parking zones. And that concludes my report. Thank you.
Real good. So now we will move on to closed session. We'll adjourn into closed session, but we are coming back for California Public Finance Authority meeting. What time will that meeting be? As soon as we can. All right, very good. And then at 1 o'clock, we have a Board of Equalization meeting. Thank you. No, I apologize. Madam Counsel, you want to read the items on closed session?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The board today will consider a conference with real property negotiators with APNs as identified on the agenda. Conference with legal counsel for anticipated litigation, significant exposure to litigation, 3 cases. Conference with legal counsel existing litigation, Mendez versus Corcoran Branch Library. And conference with real property negotiators regarding the youth athletic complex. I'll turn it to you for public comment.
All right, very good. Any public comment? No, everybody's gone. Most people are gone. All right. Anybody online? Everybody's gone. All right, thank you. We're adjourned.